Hello everyone, this is Subramaniam from Centum Academy. We have just finished the analysis of the NEET paper and I think you all must be very happy because this looks very easy. Of course, not all of you will be up to the same comfort and preparation, but in any case, we have brought you here the discussion of the NEET 2024 paper starting with physics. We are going to go through every single question. We are going to talk about shortcuts that you can use to discuss these questions. In case you are in grade 11, pay close attention to these tips and tricks because this will help you for next year when you attempt your actual NEET. If you have just given your NEET, then sit back, relax and enjoy our analysis, and you can pick up your own mistakes and you can evaluate your own paper and you can see where you stand in terms of competition. So let's get started. The physics paper, to start off with, my remarks would be that the physics paper was quite easy. We are seeing this trend all across subjects, especially in the last few years, JEE Mains as well as NEET, the paper difficulty has been decreasing a lot over time. Even this time, I'm seeing that JEE Mains 2024 session 1 was quite easy. NEET is also very, very easy, right? Let's start with the first question. This is an assertion reasoning type question. The first statement is that atoms are electrically neutral as they contain equal number of positive and negative charges. Very obviously true. Atoms of each element are stable and emit their characteristic spectrum. Now, you'd be tempted to click true, but then when you say atoms are stable, they're stable in terms of their electron shells. But then you think about the last chapter, radioactivity, and you realize that atoms are not always stable. There has to be a binding energy per nucleon for them to be stable. So I would say statement 2 is false. So statement 1 is true and statement 2 is incorrect is the answer for this. A very easy opener. This level of easiness is maintained for most of the questions, but here and there are some pitfalls, some questions that require an extra moment of thought. And those are going to be the differentiators in terms of competition. Those are going to be the questions that you will have to be careful with. This one, however, this is the standard simple harmonic motion. You can see the amplitude outside, sine followed by an omega t term and then a phase term, right? So you're supposed to identify these parameters of the sine function as you have learned to do, I'm sure, in SHM chapter. Outside the brackets, outside the sine is the amplitude, the m is the units of the amplitude, meter. So amplitude is 5 meter, first and third options are eliminated. Inside we can see omega t is equal to pi. So omega t is replaced by pi t, omega must be pi. The easier way to think of this is, this will complete one period when the term inside the sine completes 2 pi. This pi t will become 2 pi when t is equal to 2, and hence 2 seconds is the time period. Option 2 is the right option. This is again a direct formula based question. We see quite a few of these in NEET. A ball is whirled in a horizontal plane by means of a string with an initial speed of omega rpm, right? So omega is the angular speed, even though that's not explicitly mentioned. You can conclude that from the units, omega is the angular speed. The tension in the string is T. You obviously know that it's going in a horizontal circle. The tension is due to centripetal force. The formula for centripetal force in terms of angular speed is m omega square r. So you know that centripetal force and therefore tension is proportional to the square of the angular velocity. If the speed becomes 2 omega, the angular velocity doubles. What must happen to the tension if radius is same? M omega square r. Omega has doubled. Omega square becomes 4 times. So the tension must also become 4 times. M and r are going to be constants as mentioned in the question. The answer is option 2, 4 times the original tension, 4t. This is from electromagnetic induction, the functioning of a transformer. The only thing you need to remember for this is suggested not to take formula-based approaches and remember the concept. So if you had to solve this question, the concept you would remember that the total magnetic flux through this coil is equal to the magnetic flux through this coil. We assume that the flux linkage is 1. Which means the EMF through this coil is proportional to its number of turns, because V is equal to N times d phi by dt, and d phi by dt is the same through both coils because phi is the same through both coils, right? So the number of turns is proportional to the voltage is proportional to the number of turns. Since the secondary coil, S stands for secondary and P stands for primary here. Since the secondary coil has twice the number of turns as the primary coil, the secondary voltage will be twice the primary voltage. Vs is to Vp, twice is to 1, 2 is to 1 is the answer. So remember the concept straight, do not do a formula based. Think the flux has to be same, the rate of change of flux has to be same. voltage is equal to number of turns into rate of change of flux. So voltage is proportional to number of turns. NP by NS is 1 by 2, VP by VS is 1 by 2, VS by VP is 2. This was quite a surprise for me because there were two questions this time in NEET from this same thing, logical circuits, right? This sort of makes sense seeing as how electronics and AI are dominating the discourse in science and technology these days. So this question and then two questions later, you get another question on diodes from the part of digital electronics. Again, there are two questions involving diodes, not from digital electronics part, but from the part before that. So you can see semiconductors, that one chapter in grade 12 has about 4 questions, is involved in about 4 questions. And therefore, you can see that the last of grade 12, this is what we have been telling our students day in, day out. The last part of grade 12 has disproportionately high weightage and is very easy and fact based. So, those are your scoring chapters. This is a logical circuit chapter, and this is sort of a trick question. It's a funny question because you start looking for the relationship between A and B. Is it A and B, A or B, somehow related to it? But if you just calm down, and this is why being calm in the exam is very important, if you just calm down and look at the relationship between B and Y, you immediately understand a set pattern. So you're not supposed to answer this question by looking for a relationship. You're supposed to answer this question once by taking a glance at the options. You see B naught and you wonder maybe that is correct. The moment you see that, you see the two columns are exactly opposite to each other. Y is the opposite of B, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. So Y has nothing to do with A. Y is simply B naught. That is the beauty of this question. So option C. Sixth question, 1 by lambda square versus kinetic energy E. This is photon, right? This is de Broglie wavelength of a free particle. Simple formula, P is equal to H by lambda. Momentum is equal to H by lambda. So momentum is inversely proportional to lambda. Kinetic energy is proportional to momentum squared. And so kinetic energy is proportional to 1 by lambda squared because momentum is proportional to 1 by lambda. Kinetic energy 1 by lambda square are proportional. What does proportionality represent in terms of a graph? Straight line passing through the origin. The only graph that does that is option 4, straight line passing through the origin. E is proportional to 1 by lambda square because P is proportional to 1 by lambda and E is proportional to P square. Simple mechanics relations you need to remember. They need to come naturally. This will only happen with practice. Again, this is from the last part of grade 12, disproportionately high weightage, but easy chapters which you will be able to understand with some practice. Again, a logic gate question. This is what I was talking about. This is also a trick question. It seems to be a little complicated, but it can actually be solved quite quickly if you observe that these connections are made. Here you have A and A. A and A has to be either 1 and 1 or 0 and 0 because both the inputs are the same. They are both A. 1 and 1 is 1, 0 and 0 is 0. So A and A will always be A, which means this circle represents the naught. This is actually an AND. So this is A naught. Similarly, B and B or B, again 1 or 1 and 0 or 0. Both of them will be 1 and 0. B and B, B or B. Both of them are equal to B. So this becomes not B. Not A and not B are being NANDed. Not A and not A or not B. First we'll deal with the or. Not A or not B, whole not. This looks like some law you have already studied. This is De Morgan's law, which you study in logical circuits. Not A or not B, whole complement is equal to simply A and B. The or can be converted to and by taking the complements and then taking the complement of the answer. Right, so this is the whole thing is not A or not B, whole not. De Morgan's law tells us that it is an AND gate overall. So option 4 is the correct answer. Eighth question, in a uniform magnetic field of so much quantity, a magnetic needle performs 20 complete oscillations. A magnetic needle is oscillating in a magnetic field. What concept should you remember from this? The torque on a magnetic dipole. A magnetic needle, a bar magnet, is a magnetic dipole. It has a certain magnetic moment. The formula for magnetic moment, take a moment to remember it. The formula is mu b sine theta, mu cross b, which is mu b sine theta. Now mu b sine theta is the torque, which is equal to I alpha, which means alpha is proportional to theta. This is the rotational SHM equation. You all must have done this derivation in class, but you're not supposed to sit in the exam and derive this. You have far too many questions for that. You should remember simply that omega square is equal to I by mu b, because mu b is equal to I alpha. Omega square is equal to mu b by I, and then you can just substitute the values. How will you get omega? Time period, 20 complete oscillations in 5 seconds, and therefore time period is 1/4 of a second. Omega is 2 pi by t, which will become 8 pi radian per second is omega. Now omega square is 16 pi square radian per second. That is equal to mu b by I. So you can find mu from this, 16 pi square into I by b. Right? If you substitute all the answer, all of the values, the answer you are going to get is option 4, 1280 pi square. Right? Again, a directly formula based question. All you needed to remember for this was the formula of torque of the frequency of oscillation of a dipole. It's the same for electric and magnetic dipole, and hence an important formula to remember, which will cover 2 separate chapters. Right? Omega square is equal to mu b by I. Ninth question is sort of a trick question. I look at the diagram and I think I need to calculate area under the graph, right? And in your panic, you might end up doing that. But take a moment, read the question. Thermodynamic system is taken through the cycle, yes. But they're only asking the work done by gas along the path BC. Now, exam time is a very pressure-full time, and therefore most of you might end up calculating the area. Do not do that. Always remain calm. Efficiency is more important than throughput in the case of education. Therefore, BC you can see is a constant volume. Constant volume is isochoric process. Nothing to calculate. Isochoric process, work done is 0 because delta V is 0. Displacement of the piston is 0. There is no work done in an isochoric process. Answer is option 1, 0. Easy question. This will save you time to solve those difficult organic chemistry questions. Right? Beautiful question. Application of Lenz's law. People often get stuck thinking about direction. This requires a little bit of common sense. Your concept should be clear and a little bit of imagination to understand how this looks in 3D. But this is not a question that you have never seen before, I'm sure. Just with a calm mind think. Lenz's law can be summarized in a very simple way. Whatever the magnet does, the coil tries to do the opposite. If the magnet is trying to go away, the coil tries to pull it. If the magnet is coming close, the coil pushes it. Lenz's law can be summarized in this way. Whatever the magnet is doing in terms of motion, the coil forces it to do the opposite. Right? Now, north pole of the magnet is on the left and it's going away. The coil wants to do the opposite. It wants to pull the north pole towards it. So it will generate a south here and a north here because south and north attract. Magnet is moving away, coil wants to attract it, so it will generate a south here which will attract this north. If the south is here and north is here, you use the right hand thumb rule. Your thumb has to be here from south to north, which means the current goes like this. It comes up in front and goes down in back. A is in front, up in front, B is in the back, goes down in back. So A to B is the direction in solenoid 1. Options 2 and 4 are eliminated. In solenoid 2, south is coming close, so solenoid 2 will try to repel south, which means solenoid 2 will generate a south here. South here, north here, your thumb is like this, your fingers curl this way to indicate the direction of current. They are going up in the back and coming down in the front. C is in the front, coming down in the front, going up in the back, from D to C, because going up in the back and down in the front. So A to B and D to C. Option 1 is the answer. 11th question. This is direct concept. There is nothing to explain in this. You have to have gone through NCERT thoroughly. In fact, this part has been mostly deleted from NCERT. There was a great big detailed explanation in the old NCERTs, and therefore I recommend for physics, I always recommend my students that those of you who are comfortable with the given topic, who have some little time to spare, get an old NCERT before content rationalization and go through it once. That will increase your concept depth. That will give you much more degree of comfort with the concepts. So they are saying that an unpolarized light beam strikes a glass surface at Brewster's angle. Brewster's angle is that special angle where we consider both reflection and transmission, and the reflected ray is purely polarized under a specific situation. That specific situation is that the reflected ray and the refracted ray are both perpendicular to each other. From that, if you remember, we derive the relation that tan of Brewster's angle is equal to the refractive index. All of that is not applied here. They're asking the nature of polarization of the reflected and refracted rays at Brewster's angle. So a very straightforward application of the concept, not a numerical. Right? if the light beam strikes at Brewster's angle, the fact is that reflected light will be completely polarized. That is the definition of Brewster's angle. The refracted light will be partially polarized. This is a fact that many people often forget. They focus on the reflected light because that is the one that is challenged. That's the one that has something special to do with it. The refracted light, however, will be partially polarized in the case of Brewster's angle. A fact you have to remember, nothing more than that. So option 4 is the answer for 11. 12th question is funny. This is like grade 10 electricity and magnetism. A wire of length L and resistance 100 ohm is divided into 10 equal parts. I'm not even going to try and sit and write down anything. 10 equal parts for a 100 ohm resistance. Each part has how much resistance? 10 ohm, right? Each part has 10 ohm resistance. The first 5 parts are connected in series, right? 10 ohm, 5 of them connected in series, so that's 50 ohm, all of them added together. Next 5 parts are connected in parallel. What happens when you connect identical resistances in parallel? The resistance gets divided. Identical resistance in parallel. 5 of these, so each one is 10 ohm. 5 10 ohms in parallel is 2 ohm. 10 by 5, 2 ohm. The first set is 50 ohm, the second set is 2 ohm. 52 ohm, option 2 is the answer. Right? This is again a very easy question. This is again a very easy question. This is the most basic NLM question I have ever seen appear in a NEET paper. These two are obviously going to move together. You don't need any justification for that. A and B are getting pushed. A has nowhere to move, it pushes B along. The question is not how much force you are exerting, but how much force A needs to push B with. Since they are moving together, their acceleration is going to be same. As far as this external force is concerned, A and B are a single unit of 5 kg pushed by a force of 10 Newton. F is equal to ma. Force is 10 Newton. It's equal to total mass 5 into acceleration. Acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Now this is the acceleration of A as well as the acceleration of B, which means B needs a force to be able to sustain this 2 meter per second square acceleration. The force required is its mass 3 kg into its acceleration 2 meter per second square. 6 Newton force required on B. Where is it coming from? Of course, is the contact force from A. So A is pushing B with 6 Newton to give it the 2 meter per second square acceleration, which must be true because they are moving as a 5 kg unit. So option C, 6 Newton is the answer. Right? Next question. 14th question. This is a very simple question. I suggest you just solve it by looking at it. Two bodies A and B of same mass, so identical bodies, half of our calculation troubles are over. They are undergoing a completely inelastic collision, which means they stick to each other after the motion. Body A moves with velocity v1, body V is at rest before the collision. So many calculation simplifications that you don't need to do anything. Body B at rest, body A is incoming with a velocity, they stick together and move as one body. The only one equation you need to apply in the case of inelastic collision, perfectly inelastic collision, is momentum conservation. The initial momentum is only that of A, m, v1, right? We'll take the mass as m, right? The final momentum, the two particles stick together, so they become a double mass object. Both masses are identical, so 2m is the mass of the final compound object, and this will move with some unknown velocity, v2. The velocity of system after collision is v2. Right? So V2, they're asking V1 by V2, we'll take V2 this side, you will get 2, m will cancel out, 2:1 is the answer, V1 by V2 is 2:1. You could do this without writing anything down, just think that the final velocity has double the mass but the same momentum. The final compound object has double mass but same momentum and hence half velocity. So final velocity is half the initial velocity, initial to final is 2:1. Speed is very important in NEET. And therefore try to write as less as possible. Writing introduces drag, so to speak, in the time you take to solve. Right? Next, straightforward formula question. The potential at an axial point at 2 meters from the center of a dipole vector magnitude is given, and k value is also given. Right? Yeah. K value is also given. So you just need to put it into the, substitute into the formula. 2 kp by r cube, everyone must remember the formula, 2 kp by r cube for dipole. You substitute the values, 9 into 10 power 9, everything cancels out. Only 9 into 10 power 3 is left. This answer is in fact correct if you substitute the values. The reason, however, has been a small mistake. This is r square in the denominator. Field is not r square in the case of a dipole. The unique thing about dipoles is that field is proportional to 1 by r cube. Reason is wrong, assertion is correct. Option 3. Right? This is a simple, very simple concept. The only shock I got was they were expecting you to remember Rydberg's constant, when especially just now they gave the value of small k 9 into 10 power 9. This is not something they thought you need to remember, but Rydberg's constant, the thing you need to remember, when the reality is actually opposite for students. Right? So they expected you to remember Rydberg's constant 1.1 approximately into 10 power 7 in SI units, and then you use Rydberg's formula. Rydberg's formula is that the wavelength mu bar, wave number mu bar, is Rydberg's constant into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Slightly calculation intensive, right? But then this is the kind of questions for which you need to save time by doing those earlier questions much more quickly, right? This is the formula you will use. Just calculation intensive, substitute everything. Remember, this is nu bar, not lambda, and hence you will have to invert it. A big calculation headache. You have to do it calmly without making any mistakes. Take approximations because these values are spread out quite a bit. So take approximations, find the nearest value and choose it. If you do that procedure, the answer that you will get is option 2, A3, B4, C2, D1. Right? Simple, straightforward calculation for which you will save time by doing questions like the previous ones much quickly without writing too much. This is my favorite question in the whole paper. This question is just great because many times we remember formulas directly for vernier calipers and we do not think how it works exactly. If you think carefully about how it works, if you either work it out or you look at a good video where they explain the working of vernier calipers, you will realize that for the total difference between a main scale and a vernier scale, the total difference is split among the divisions of the vernier scale. There are n plus 1 divisions on the vernier scale which coincide with n divisions on the main scale. What is the gap between main and vernier? It is 1 division. 1 division is 0.1 mm. Now this 0.1 mm has to be divided among the n plus 1 vernier scale divisions. So 0.1 by n plus 1 is the least count. The least count of a vernier caliper is the vernier constant. This is another thing you need to remember, terminology. Right? So 0.1 by n plus 1, if I bring it to centimeter, it will become 1 by 100 into n plus 1. Option 2 is the answer. Straightforward, very straightforward. 18th one, direct formula. Direct formula, this is a spherical shell charged by some source. Potential difference between the 2 points here and here. You need to know this simple fact. What is the field inside a spherical shell? Zero. Inner shell theorem first proved by the great Sir Isaac Newton. The field from here to here, the field is zero. Integral E dr will be zero. Field into distance will be zero. And hence the potential difference between these 2 points is zero. This is a hollow sphere, not a solid sphere. No, for nothing required to calculate. Directly it is zero using inner shell theorem. Right? This is again like grade 10. Terminal voltage of the battery whose EMF is 10 volts, internal resistance is 1 ohm. You need to find the voltage between this point and this point. First figure out the current. 5 ohm resistance, 10 volt voltage. V is equal to IR, current must be 2 amperes. 2 amperes across 1 ohm gives a 2 volt potential drop. 10 volt minus 2 volt, terminal voltage is 8. That's the way you should do it. So that you have time for those calculation questions like the Rydberg constant one. Next question. C is the velocity of light in free space. Simple factual question, nothing to discuss here. Energy of the photon is h nu, correct? Velocity of a photon is c, that's what we assume. Momentum of the photon hv by c, h by lambda and lambda nu equal to c from waves. Link them together, you will get h nu by c, correct? Photon electron collision, both total energy and total momentum are conserved. Yes, that is the reason we have photons in the theory of physics to give us a representation of the energy and momentum carried by the field. Photons possess positive charge, obviously not. Photons are uncharged. So A, B, C, D are correct. Option 2 is the right answer. A particle moving with uniform speed in circular path maintains. Tempted to click constant velocity and varying acceleration. None of them are correct. Only option 4 because velocity and acceleration are vectors. Simple pitfall. There is nothing to discuss in this question. They are vectors, and although their magnitudes are uniform, the actual vector values will vary because of the direction. 21 is 4. In the following circuit, equivalent capacitance between A and B. You look at this circuit and what do you think? Wheatstone bridge, correct? 4 capacitors with one in the middle. Is the ratio of these two the same as these two? Yes, both of them are 1, and therefore just eliminate this middle capacitor. 2 and 2 in series, how much will that give you? That will give you 1. This is the opposite of resistance. 2 and 2 in series will give you 1. 1 and 1 in parallel will again give you 2. Option 1. Nothing to write, nothing to calculate. You can do it just by looking. This one has a little bit of calculation. A thin flat circular disc is placed gently over the surface of water. This is straight out of NCERT, by the way. NCERT has an example problem where they illustrate this. A thin flat circular disc is placed gently over the surface of water. What is the excess force required to take? What does it mean by excess? Don't count the weight of the disc. Anyway, nothing is given about that. So when I lift the disc out of the water surface curves up to meet the disc in such a way that the water is pulling it down using surface tension. Pulling it down with how much force? 2 pi r is the length of contact into surface tension. 2 pi into radius into surface tension. Make this whole calculation. This again will require a little bit of time. You see that all of these have the same order of have the same significant figures. They are only differing in order of magnitude. Keep that in mind while doing the calculation. If you calculate, you get the answer as 19.8 millinewton. Don't make a silly mistake with zeros. This question does not deserve that. Right? Maximum elongation of a steel wire of 1 meter if the elastic limit of steel and its Young's modulus are given. Elastic limit from the units also you can see, in case you forgot, this is the maximum possible stress that the wire can take. Stress by strain is equal to Young's modulus. At maximum stress, 8 into 10 power 8. Strain is going to be just delta L because L is 1. Delta L by L is just delta L. This by delta L is 2 into 10 power 11. Make the whole calculation. The answer you get is 0.4 millimeters. So 24th is 2. This is a very good question. Alpha decay. This is a positron emission. This is a beta decay. And then now he has confused you. Because what is the difference between E minus and beta minus? This is a question from nuclear decay. You can already see from the question. 290 and 82. What does an alpha decay do? It's a helium nucleus. 2 protons, 2 neutrons. Mass number decreases by 4. 290 becomes 286. Immediately observe all of these are beta positive or beta negative decays which do not affect mass number. You see neutron converts into a proton or proton converts into a neutron. So you already know the mass number changes only due to alpha decay. 290 becomes 286. 25th question, either 2 or 4. Which one of them is it? What does this do to the atomic number? It decreases by 2. 2 protons are lost. 82 becomes 80. What does the positron emission do? If a positron has to be emitted, then a proton has to convert into a neutron to conserve charge, and therefore mass number decreases by 1. 82 became 80, 80 became 79. This is the opposite, which will make it again 88. In order to emit a negative particle, a neutron must convert to a proton. This will again make it 80. This will make it 81 because these two, my dear friends, are the same. Beta particle is the electron emission is beta emission. So it will go 82, 80, 79, 80, 81. Final answer is option 4, 81. At any instant of time, very, very easy question. The displacement is given by 2t minus 1 in SI units. Displacement is a linear function of time. The slope of the displacement time graph will be 2. 2 is the velocity. What should I do with the velocity? The force and the velocity are given. He is asking value of power. Silly question. Force times velocity is power. Force is 5. Velocity is slope of the graph 2. 5 2s are 10. Nothing to write, nothing to calculate. 26 is option 1. The quantities which have same dimensions as those of solid angle. Which of you remember the dimensions of solid angle? This is famous. We study solid angle very early on in physics as that quantity which has units but no dimensions. We are looking for those quantities in the options which have no dimensions. Strain, another famous quantity with no dimensions. Angle, again, yes, we got it in option 1. Stress has dimensions. Here he means to say arc length. This is a misprint. Arc length has dimensions of length. Angular speed has dimensions of time inverse. And therefore only option 1 is correct. Moment of inertia of a thin rod about an axis passing through its midpoint. I hope you all learned this by heart. Moment of inertia and center of mass formulas. Axis passing through its midpoint and perpendicular to the rod. What is the moment of inertia? ml square by 12. For the end it is by 3. For the midpoint it is by 12. ml square by 12 is 2400. M is 400. L square is how much? If you do the calculation, you will get the answer very simply as option 1, 8.5 centimeter. Right? A and no, consider the following statements and identify the correct answer. I and V graph is given. Where have we seen these? These are characteristic graphs, correct? In semiconductors, another question from semiconductors we are seeing. In this case, he's asking about he's asking about the solar cell. What happens in a solar cell? IV characteristic lies in which graph? Now, solar cell IV characteristic, since the cell is generating current, we consider the current coming from the cell to be negative. IV characteristic will lie in the fourth quadrant for this option. In reverse bias junction, the current is measured is due to majority charge carriers. Is this correct or not? In this, they are not asking the relation whether this is the correct explanation. They are just asking which combination of correct wrong. In a reverse bias diode, you know that the minority charge carriers is a fact you need to remember. No need to go into the details of semiconductors. It's a fact-based chapter, just like chemistry, just like the entirety of chemistry. You need to remember that in reverse bias, it's the minority carriers that represent current, and in forward bias is the majority carriers. So this is wrong. B is wrong. A is correct. Option 1 is the answer. Question 30. A wheel of bullock cart is rolling on level road. If nothing is mentioned, you'll assume it's pure rolling, right? You don't expect the bullock cart wheel to slip. If linear speed is v, which one of the following options is correct? You don't even need to know what the speed is, because P is the top point, Q is the bottom point. Instantaneously, the bottom point has zero velocity. Why? It should not slip. It should not move over the ground. So bottom point velocity is 0. Top point velocity will be twice the center velocity. You don't even need to know that, because he's saying point P moves slower or faster or with equal speed, or point P has 0 speed. You know, P is moving this way, Q is stationary momentarily, so P moves faster than Q. Option 2. Even if you don't consider pure rolling, if you are near to pure rolling, the same option holds within limited slipping. 31. Again, this is a magnetism question. Tightly wound 100 turns coil. Tightly wound means we will assume it is a single circular coil. 100 turns, radius 10 centimeters, 7 ampere current. All the parameters are given. Magnetic field at the center of the coil. Direct formula mu naught I by 2R is the formula for magnetic field we get by integrating Liouville law, but you need to remember it by yourself. Mu naught value you can take as 4.10⁻⁷. I hope you remember that it's called permeability of free space. Take this whole value, mu naught I by 2R, substitute everything. The answer that you will get for this question is option 3, 4.4 millitesla. Straightforward calculation, formula substitution based question, right? This, on the other hand, is exact opposite. No quantitative, it's a pure qualitative question. Nothing is there to do in this. Monochromatic source. So you remember the interference pattern because of the overlap of the different sources. The monochromatic source is replaced by white light. White light consists of all wavelengths of colors. Each wavelength will form its own interference pattern. And if you remember, the height of the maximum, the fringe width or the maximum position, whichever you want to call, depends on the wavelength of light, which means each color will have its maxima at different locations, except the central bright fringe, which is same for all light. So the central bright fringe will have all wavelengths. The central bright fringe will be white because that's the combination of all wavelengths. And the subsequent fringes will be different for different colors at different positions. And hence you can see one white central fringe and followed by a set of colored fringes decreasing. So central bright fringe surrounded by colored fringes. Next question. This is just straightforward memory. What is a diamagnetic material? A diamagnetic responds in the opposite way to your magnetic field. The field it generates is opposite. The proportionality constant between generated field and your field is described by susceptibility, magnetic susceptibility. Do not confuse with permeability. Permeability describes the total field. Susceptibility describes the generated by material field. So generated by material field for a diamagnetic is opposite. So the proportionality constant is negative. A is 2. Ferromagnetic is huge in the same direction, so much greater than 1. B is 3. A2, B3, we already have option 1. Paramagnetic is in the same direction but not that huge, so you will get option 4. And non-magnetic just does not respond to your magnetic field, no effect on the magnetic field, so D is 1. Right? A2, B3, option 1 is the correct answer. This is a straightforward optics question. You might see a prism and start applying prism formulas. No, we barely ever apply prism formulas in prism-based questions. It's just Snell's law applied 2 times. One for this refraction and one for this refraction. Snell's law for this refraction is easier to apply. Sin 90 is 1. So mu is equal to the 1 by mu is equal to sine of this angle, right? Sine of this angle and cos of this angle will be same. Now when you apply mu, sine I by sine r equal to mu for this refraction, sine I is 1 by 2. Sine r, since this is 90 and this is a right angle triangle, sine of this will be cos of this. Sine of this is 1 by mu. Cos of this is under root 1 minus 1 by mu square. Correct? So sine of this is equal to cos of this. Sine I by sine r is equal to mu. So you will say sine I by cos of this is equal to mu. You substitute them together, you will get the answer for this question. Right? We'll just give us 1 moment. We are going to continue this. Right. So next question. The mass of a planet is 1/10 that of the Earth and its diameter is half that of the Earth. The acceleration due to gravity on the planet, again direct formula based, in fact proportionality question. Small g is equal to gm by r square, capital G, capital M by r square. So it's proportional to capital M, inversely proportional to r square. M becomes 1 by 10, r becomes half because diameter becomes half. So m becomes 1 by 10, r square becomes 1 by 4. 4 by 10 times 0.4 times 9.8. 4 nines are 36, so 3.92. That is all you need to do. No need to do precise calculation. 4 nines are 36. 0.4 into 9 will be 3.6. And because it's 9.8, it's 3.92. Option 4. It's as easy as that. No need to be precise when the options are spread out. Minimum energy required to launch a satellite from the surface of the Earth in a circular orbit at an altitude of 2r from the surface, altitude of 2r. Many people make this mistake. This is altitude. The value of r that you will take in your gm by r square and your mv square by r while deriving this, the value of r should be 3r. 2r from the surface and r to the center. So small r, the distance from the center in this question is 3r. If you do that, you need to add kinetic energy and potential energy, or just directly remember the formula for total energy of a satellite. The answer you will get is option 2, 2 gmm by 3r. A metallic bar of Young's modulus, this much coefficient of linear. Once you see these two constants, Young's modulus and linear expansion, you know what's going on. The bar is restricted to expand and yet it is heated, right? So this is a question of thermal stress. Thermal stress is equal to Y alpha delta T is the direct formula. Thermal stress is equal to Y alpha delta T. Delta T is 100, Y is given, alpha is given. Calculate the thermal stress. Multiply thermal stress by area of cross section. What will you get? Force, tension force in the rod, which is what they are asking. Thermal stress is equal to this into this into this multiplied by this. Basically, all four values need to be multiplied. You can already eliminate these two options because it's 0.5 into 0.5 into 100 into 10 power minus 5. The answer must be in terms of 1 by 2 or in one of these two. The rest of it you can calculate using order of magnitude. A precise calculation will give you option 2 as the answer. A small telescope has an objective of this much focal length and an eyepiece of this much focal length. Magnifying power of telescope for viewing a distant object. Magnifying power, you know the formula, it has to be F naught by Fe for a telescope. They have not mentioned whether it is normal adjustment or it is least distance of distinct vision adjustment. Remember the formula though for normal adjustment, it's F naught by Fe. For least distance of distinct vision, F naught by Fe into 1 plus D by Fe. Right? They have not mentioned this, so that is probably a fault in the question. I do not know if it will be deleted or not. We can assume, if nothing is mentioned, sometimes we assume that it is normal adjustment. The image is formed at infinity. So you just do F naught by Fe. The answer you will get is option 2, 28. 140 by 5 is 28. 39th, this is a simple capacitor with an AC circuit. 10 microfarad capacitor connected to this source. What is the peak current in the circuit? Right? You have to use the version of Ohm's law that applies to AC circuits where resistance is replaced by impedance, right? What is the impedance of a capacitor? 1 by mu C. right? So you retake the impedance of the capacitor and do Vrms by R. You will get the answer. Vrms by R. I is equal to V by R. That's as simple as that. Since they are asking peak current, you will do peak I by R, right? Peak I by R, if you do in this case, 210 volts. Remember that 210 is the RMS. Its peak is root 2 times 210. Divide that by impedance of the capacitor. You will get the answer as option 2. Right. So this is straightforward. Again, formula-based application. But remember, there is a possible silly mistake here. There could be a difference. You might take 210 as a voltage. That would give you the RMS current. If you want peak current, you need to multiply that by root 2. Do not forget that. Right. Mass of the bulb is increased to thrice its original mass. Length is made half of its original length. Right. Then what is the new time period of oscillation? This is a very silly question. This is grade 10 level, grade 9 level mechanics. The mass is increased to thrice. The time period of oscillation is 2 pi root L by J. It doesn't even matter what the mass is. Length becomes half of its original length. So you have a root 2 factor here. 40 answer is 2. Straight from the formula. 2 pi root L by G. G does not change. L changes to half of its original length. That is it. Nothing changes. 41st question, the property which is not of an electromagnetic wave traveling in free space. Number one, they are transverse in nature. You learned long back that electromagnetic waves or light waves are an example of transverse waves. Number two, the energy density in the electric field is equal to energy densities in the magnetic field. This is the fact. So basically, the whole chapter of electromagnetic waves is a series of facts you need to remember without much quantitative, without much formula-based learning. So two is also an example of a fact that you will have to remember. 3, they travel with a speed equal to 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. Another fact, epsilon naught mu naught is equal to 1 by c square, discovered by the great Maxwell. In fact, it is this formula which led him to suspect that light is also an electromagnetic wave, and it kicked off modern physics in a way. Option 4, they originate from charges moving with uniform speed. This is again in the introduction of electromagnetic waves chapter itself, you realize that electromagnetic waves are generated by accelerating charges. Recall the first chapter of chemistry, atomic structure. You study that the fault of the Rutherford model of the atom is that it's an accelerating charge which will radiate energy in the form of electromagnetic waves, and therefore accelerating charges radiate energy. Option 4 is false. So the property which is not of an electromagnetic wave is option 4. Right? Again, in this question, there is a small mistake. You expect an ideal gas to follow Charles' law, right? You expect that the proportionality between T and V is maintained. What these curves indicate is that they are closely following the proportionality but slightly off, which means they're talking about a real gas. The following gas represents the graph represents the TV curves of a real gas, they mean to say, where T is the temperature and V is the volume. You can expect that they would be proportional with slight deviation. The question is, what is the order of temperatures? For this, you will simply remember that if you write the ideal gas equation, PV equal to nRT, this is a T versus V, T versus V, T in terms of V, T by nR into V. Remember, Y is equal to mx is the equation of a straight line through origin. Y is equal to mx. M is the slope, increases with P because P is in the numerator. So M increases with P. P1 has the greatest slope and therefore the greatest pressure. P1 is greater than P2 is greater than P3. Option 4 is the correct answer. 43rd question. Again, I would looked at it and the first thing that came to my mind is differentiation or integration. The rest of the question saved me. It's a dimensional analysis question. Principle of homogeneity, the first chapter you learn in grade 11. I hope you have not forgotten it by your NEET exam. This is the force. Now T is the time, which means T square is time squared dimensions. Now you must remember the principles of homogeneity. When two quantities are added, they must have the same dimension, and the result of addition will also have the same dimension. That is one. Second one, the left hand side and right hand side will have same dimensions, which means force is the dimension of the sum, which means force is the dimensions of each of them, which means alpha T square has a dimensions of force, alpha has dimensions of force by T square, beta has dimensions of force by T. right? Now, which of these are dimensionless? Dimensions of force by t square by dimensions of force into t. This will not work. This will be dimension of force by t square into t. This will make it dimension of force by t. And then in the denominator, you have beta, which is itself dimensions of force by t. Option 2 is the correct answer. No need to calculate anything. 44. Velocity time plot of the motion of a body is shown below. Acceleration time graph. This is a very fun exercise I always try to do with my students. I'll give them a graph and try to plot the derivative graph or the integral graph. If I give them velocity, I ask them the acceleration or the displacement versus time graph. This is always fun. These kind of questions I like to see them in the exam. Right? So you can see initially velocity is 0, continuously 0. So acceleration is also 0. Velocity is not changing. Again, in the middle, there comes a time when velocity is not changing, which means again acceleration is 0. So 0 acceleration, 0 acceleration, 0 acceleration. 3 phases of 0 acceleration, initially, in the middle, and at the end. What is happening in between those phases? Constant upward slope which is constant. Slope is the acceleration, so a positive constant acceleration here. This is a downward slope, negative constant acceleration here. So how will the acceleration graph look? 0, positive constant, 0, negative constant, 0. 0, positive constant, 0, negative constant, 0. Option 3 is the right answer. None of them will match otherwise. Two heaters have a power rating of 1 and 2 kilowatt. Those two are first connected in series and then in parallel to a fixed power source. The ratio of power outputs for these, right? Power rating of 1 kilowatt. This is the power they would output if connected across the standard 220 volt terminal. The voltage doesn't even matter because both of them will be connected across the same voltage. Power is equal to V square by R. Its power is half of this power, which means its A's resistance is double of B's resistance because V square by R is power. A's resistance is 2 times B's resistance. We'll take resistance of B as R, resistance of A as 2R. Connect them in series, you get a resistance of 3R. Connect them in parallel, you get a resistance of 2R into R by 2R plus R, you get 2 by 3R. Right? So you have in one case you have 3R, in another case you have 2 by 3R. Ratio of the resistances is the ratio of the powers in inverse form. So 2 by 2 by 3 will become 2 by 9. You have to invert it, you will get 9 by 2. You invert it, you will get 2 by 9 because power is the inverse of resistance when voltage is constant. Now they say fixed power source. Technically they are supposed to say fixed voltage source, but it's fine. Such things we can gather from the context of the question. Option 2 is the correct answer. Now this question actually has an error. 46th question is sort of, you can see first up that options 1 and 4 are same. Identical option they have placed here. Right? And they are saying can achieve the bridge balance. They are obviously referring to the Wheatstone bridge. Correct? And none of these ratios are matching a Wheatstone bridge. The left 2 and the right 2 should have same ratio. None of them it is true for. There is the presence of a diode. The diode might have disrupted an existing Wheatstone bridge by facing the wrong way and not letting the fourth resistor carry current. But a diode cannot make a Wheatstone bridge if the ratios are already wrong, can it? Because the diode does not have resistance of its own. So what's going on here is that the question is wrong. Probably option 4 had to be replaced by something else. Yet I can explore, I try to explore if it is possible that the galvanometer carries no current in any of them. No, this is just a normal resistance network. Galvanometer will carry current. This one, the 5 ohm, will be taken out of the circuit, will become open circuit because diode is facing the wrong way. Again, galvanometer will carry current. Here, 5 ohm becomes short circuit. Again, galvanometer will carry current. This is the same of this. In all the 4 options, galvanometer is carrying current. 46 is going to be deleted. Add score for everyone. 47. A sheet is placed on horizontal surface in front of a strong magnetic pole. A force is needed to do what? Hold the sheet there if it is magnetic. Is it true? Yes. Diamagnetic materials generate their own magnetic field. They become magnets in the presence of a magnetic field, and therefore, depending on whether it's diamagnetic, paramagnetic, or ferromagnetic, it will either repel, attract, or attract this given magnet in that order. Right? So if it is magnetic, you need a force to hold the sheet there. Hold the sheet there. If it is non-magnetic, do you need a force? No. Right? Because non-magnetic neither attract nor repel. Move the sheet away from the pole with uniform velocity if it is conducting. What happens when you move a conductor in the vicinity of a magnetic pole? The magnetic flux through the conductor changes, which means circular EMF are introduced into the conductor body, which runs circular currents. Does anyone remember the name of these circular currents? They're called eddy currents. So eddy currents are generated which will work opposite to your motion. So if I move the sheet away with uniform velocity, I have to apply a force. The work done by force goes into eddy current heating. That is also a concept which we learn about as an application of electromagnetic induction. Move the sheet away from the pole with uniform velocity if it is both non-conducting and non-polar, which means no magnetic force, no eddy currents, no electric force because no non-conducting. So no force is required to move the sheet away in this case. Option B and option D are wrong. Option A and C are correct. 2 is the correct answer for 47. 48. If the plates of a parallel plate capacitor are moved close to each other, connected to a battery, so charge will not remain constant. Voltage is a constant here. So try to express every single formula in terms of voltage. First questions first. What happens to the capacitance? Plates are moved closer. D decreases. Epsilon naught A by D increases, which means the capacitance increases. C is correct. Capacitance increases. What happens to charge? Q equal to CV. V is a constant connected to battery. So C increases, Q increases, charge increases. A is correct. C is correct. What about B? The energy stored in it decreases. Energy stored in terms of V, half C V square. C increases, V remains constant. So energy stored will increase. B is wrong. Charge to potential ratio Q equal to CV. Q by V is equal to capacitance. Charge by potential is capacitance. Will it remain the same? No, it will increase because the D is decreasing. D is also wrong. Product of charge and voltage increases. Q times V. Will this increase? Let us write Q as CV and then you get CV square as the product of charge and voltage. C is increasing, V square remains constant. So this product does indeed increase. E is correct, C is correct, and A is correct. A, C, and E. Option 2 is the answer. 49. An iron bar of length L has magnetic moment M. Please do not try to calculate anything in this question. This is another thing you can get by geometry. Some of you might be tempted to apply vector addition formula. Length L has magnetic moment M. It is bent at the middle. So each part has M by 2 magnetic moment and then it becomes like this. This one has M by 2 like this. This one has M by 2 like this. And the angle that it makes is 60 degrees. 2 equal, and then we apply triangle of vector addition. It becomes an equilateral triangle because 2 equal vectors with 60 degrees. This one must also be M by 2. Do not apply formula and waste your time. Notice that it's an equilateral triangle. 60 degrees should alert you of that. So question 49, answer very quickly you can get as 2. Last question of physics, question 50. A parallel plate capacitor is connected by charged by connecting it through a battery through a resistor. I is the current in the circuits. In the gap between the plates, which chapter is this? Huge weightage from all of these last chapters of grade 12 we are seeing. The Maxwell's equations, right? Displacement current you can see in the options. Technically, there is no current between the plates of a capacitor. There is a dielectric separating it. So no charge can jump from one plate to another. But Maxwell discovered that the magnetic field in that region, due to variation of electric field, the magnetic field exists as if there was an imaginary current called the displacement current. The displacement current of magnitude I flows in the same direction as the external current. This is a fact you have to remember in the spirit of the last chapters of physics, right? So this is the last one. The displacement current of magnitude equivalent to I flows in the same direction as I. Option 2 is correct for the last question. So that is this year's NEET paper. My summary would be that the questions are quite easy. Huge weightage from the second half of grade 12. My God, second half of grade 12 is your bonus. They are very easy chapters, mostly fact-based, very simple problems. Nothing much for you to do. Just remember the facts, make charts if required to memorize these things, and then you can solve many questions from this paper. So very easy paper, I would say, but the NEET is usually not as up to JEE Mains level. But still, I would say this paper is quite easy in terms of physics. Large weightage from grade 12, specifically large weightage from the second half of grade 12. This is something we are seeing across all competitive exams. So all of you be prepared. Those of you who are attempting next year, please be prepared with the second half of grade 12. That is your scoring section. So we are done with physics now. Next, we are going to discuss the chemistry paper. Ramita ma'am, please come. Over to you.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone. Let's start with the chemistry section. Swipe.
Okay, right.
Paper swipe. Physics
Yes.
there is physics.
Physics.
But bunk long press. Go to state numbers. Pull up. Right. Yes. Where do we start slide? This is
Right, this is one.
view full screen. View.
Okay, hello everyone. Let's start with the chemistry section. So, on heating, some solid substances change from solid to vapor state without passing through the liquid state. So, we can confer from this that it is a sublimable solid, right? So, the technique used for the purification of such solid substances based on the above principle is known as. Very easy question. We all know that when a solid go from the solid state directly into the vapor state, the technique used here is sublimation, right? So no doubt in the question is a completely theoretical question, guys. Coming on to the next part. Yes. Next question goes as match list 1 with list 2. You can see that here we have isothermal process. Now isothermal process is a process where the delta T is equal to constant. So directly we can match it with carried out at constant temperature. ये तो सीधा सीधा आंसर है. Isochoric process. What is isochoric process? Where the delta V is equal to constant. So here B will be our carried out at constant volume. Next, isobaric process. Bar unit is present. So again, delta P is equal to constant. So it will be carried out at constant pressure. So C is 4. Coming on to the next part, adiabatic process. We know that in adiabatic process, delta Q is equal to 0. There is no heat exchange. So D will be equal to 1. So the answer over here is A is 2, B is C, C is 4. So the answer will be the fourth option. Next question. Yes. In which of the following equilibria Kp and Kc are not equal? So in this we have to just check that which of the following our delta Ng is not equal to 0. Delta Ng is not equal to 0. So in which of the following delta Ng is not equal to 0? Of course, the first option is the right answer, because here the delta Ng will be equal to 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. What is delta Ng? The difference in the gaseous moles of products minus the gaseous moles of reactants. Coming on to the next question. Okay, the compound will undergo SN1 reaction. I'm facing a problem in
those
okay, so the compound that will undergo SN1 reaction, the compound which will undergo SN1 reaction with a faster rate. Now, in SN1 reaction, we know that it goes on with the formation of a carbocation. So we have to form the carbocation here. Here the carbocation is forming here, and so this is the carbocations that are forming. So if we separate it, this will be like this. The first carbocation that will be forming. Second one will be formed like this. Third one will be in an aromatic ring. In an aromatic ring, this is the carbocation formed. And here the carbocation formed is CH3 plus. So now we can clearly see that here resonance is occurring, right? This positive carbocation is in resonance with this aromatic ring, as well as it is having hyperconjugation as well from this CH3. So this is the most stable carbocation. So this carbocation will be formed with a faster rate. So that's the reason that the compound that is undergoing SN1 reaction with a faster rate will be the fourth one. And we can easily understand this is secondary carbocation. It is having 4 alpha hydrogen. This is a primary one. This is having 1 alpha hydrogen. And carbocation, here the positive charge is on the aromatic ring itself. And the positive charge on double bond is very, very unstable. So this will be the least unstable. Right? So now this one will be the most stable. So this particular compound will be undergoing SN1 reaction with the fastest rate. So the correct option is option 4. Next, a compound with a molecular formula C6H4 has 2 tertiary carbons. Its IUPAC name is. So, two tertiary carbons means we have, let's say I'm drawing it in a chain. Is it possible that we can have 2 tertiary carbon atoms? No. So what can I do? I can just remove 1 carbon from here. I can put it somewhere. I am getting 1 tertiary carbon. एक ही tertiary carbon मुझे मिल रहा है. अच्छा. So I'll remove 1 more from this side and put it here. Am I getting 2 tertiary carbon? Definitely I am getting 2 tertiary carbon. So what is the IUPAC name of this particular compound? The IUPAC name is 2,2-dimethyl butane. There are 4 carbon atoms over here. So this is a methyl group. There will be 3 hydrogens attached. So the answer will be, correct option will be option number 4. Okay. Next, statement 1 is given as is a statement based question. Statement 1 is the boiling point of hydrides of group 16 elements follow the order H2O greater than H2T greater than H2SE greater than H2S. Definitely it's a correct order. Now, if we have gone by the normal trend, it should have been H2O should be the least, right? But why is it not happening? Because in H2O we are having hydrogen bonding. So it is exceptionally higher. Let's see statement number 2, what is mentioned. On the basis of molecular mass, H2O is expected to have the lower boiling point. Correct hai? Sahi statement hai. Lower boiling point than the other members. So this should have been the order actually. Yahan se yahan tak. But due to the presence of extensive hydrogen bonding in H2O, it has higher boiling point. So ye bhi correct hai. So both the statements are correct. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. The correct answer will be option 1. Next, for the reaction 2A is in equilibrium with B plus C, Kc का value is given. What is Kc का value? 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. At a given time, the composition of the reaction mixture is. At a given time, this time equilibrium time नहीं है. ये कोई सा भी दूसरा time है. Okay, this is not equilibrium time. So the composition of the reaction mixture is given as A ka concentration is equal to B ka concentration is equal to C ka concentration is this. So we already know how to calculate this. So our QC will be equal to, this is a reaction given, right? So concentration of B into concentration of C upon concentration of A to the power 2. This will be the QC. So from here, if we calculate the QC, B and C concentration is same a concentration. So 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 2 into 10 to the power minus 3, right? This will be the thing divided by divided by 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 whole square. तो ये तो पूरा कट गया, giving QC as equal to 1. Now if QC is equal to 1, we got QC is equal to 1, KC is equal to 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. So QC is greater than KC. We already know this, that if KC is this point, let's say some value, QC is greater than KC means it will tend to come back to KC. So that means if it is coming back to KC, that means it is going in a backward direction. So the answer here will be the reaction has a tendency to go in the backward direction. Okay. Activation energy of any chemical reaction can be calculated if one knows the value of, सीधा answer है, of course, rate constant at two different temperature. From the Arrhenius equation, we have seen that the rate constant at two different temperatures should be given. Okay, so this is a direct question. Arrhenius equation हमें पता है कि K is equal to A e to the power minus EA by RT. So from here, ln K2 by K1 constant होगा यहाँ पे कुछ. In the bracket, it is like T1 minus T2. I'm not writing whatever part is here, but if we have the rate constant along with two different temperature, here there is EA term. So we can easily calculate the activation energy. So the correct answer will be the rate constant at two different temperatures. Okay. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, both this compound and this compound, these are two coordination compounds. यहाँ पे ligand है ammonia, and here the ligand is fluoride. Okay. Now this is also cobalt. This is also cobalt. Okay. Complexes are octahedral. Okay. We know that it is octahedral. Why octahedral? Because we can see that the coordination number is 6 over here. So definitely it will be octahedral. But differ in their magnetic behavior. यहाँ पे भी if I see, this is cobalt plus 3. Here also it is cobalt plus 3. Now cobalt plus 3 is what? This is cobalt plus 3. So from 4s2, 2 electron has gone out and 1 will go from the d orbital. Now this is the cobalt plus 3 electronic configuration. Now this ammonia ligand is a strong field ligand. It is a strong field ligand. So if it is a strong field ligand, यहाँ पे pairing होगा. If the pairing happens, the new d configuration will be like this. So for this particular complex, we will get the hybridization as D2sp3. And is there any unpaired electron over here? No. So magnetic behavior. और यहाँ पे अगर देखें तो this is a weak field ligand. So weak field ligand में there will be no pairing up. So this is the one for the cobalt F6 complex, and this configuration will be for the ammonia plus 3. Right? So here we have 4 unpaired electron. Here we have no unpaired electron. यहाँ पे hybridization होगा sp3d2. Right? So we can clearly understand that there will be a difference in their magnetic behavior. The first statement is correct. Now, CONH3O6 plus 3 is diamagnetic. Yes, it is diamagnetic. There is no unpaired electron. When there are no unpaired electron, it is diamagnetic. And when there are unpaired electrons present, it will be paramagnetic. So statement 2 is also correct. Statement 1 is also correct. So the correct answer would be both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. So this is the correct answer for this particular question. Okay. Now, the highest number of helium atoms is in 4 option दिया हुआ है. 4 mole of helium. 1 mole of helium will contain Na atoms. In 1 mole we will have Na atoms. So in 4 moles we will have how many? 4 Na atoms. So in the first option, we can see that there are 4 Na atoms of helium. Now, second one, 4 U of helium. That means atomic mass unit. That means 4 U is the mass of one atom of helium. So this contains only one atom. Coming on to the third one, 4 gram of helium. Now 4 gram is the molar mass. Molar mass means 1 mole. And 1 mole में how many atoms should be there? Na atoms. तो यहाँ पे हुआ 4Na, यहाँ पे 8 atom, यहाँ पे Na. Okay. 2.27 liters of helium. Again, we know that N is equal to volume at STP. This is the volume at STP given. So it is 2.27 upon 22.7 into Na. So यहाँ से this N will give me the number of atoms. So answer would be Na upon 10 atoms. So सबसे ज़्यादा number of helium atoms किस में है? Definitely 4 moles of helium is the correct answer to this. Next. Arrange the following elements in increasing order of first ionization enthalpy. Okay, fine. Nitrogen का तो definitely it will be higher. So as we go from left to right, the ionization enthalpy increases. So in that order, if we arrange it, definitely the order will be nitrogen, सबसे ज़्यादा, then carbon, then boron, then beryllium, then lithium. But now beryllium is having electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2. Now this is a full-filled electronic configuration, so that's why more energy will be required to remove that electron. So definitely these two will exchange their bases. So according to that, the correct option should be nitrogen, carbon, beryllium, boron, lithium. Second option is the correct answer. Which one of the following alcohols react instantaneously with Lucas reagent? Again, completely theoretical. Primary will not give turbidity at all with Lucas reagent. Secondary will give some time. Tertiary will give turbidity instantaneously. So यहाँ पे tertiary alcohol कौन सा है? Option number 4. Option number 4 is the answer. Okay, this is the tertiary alcohol. Moving on. Spin only magnetic moment is same for which of the following ions, right? So we have to find out basically the if I go further with the formula, it is root over n plus 2. So if I find out the number of unpaired electron, that will be enough. So any two of these should have same number of unpaired electron. Titanium plus 3 will be having how much? 3 plus. So 1 electron it will have, unpaired electron, right? For chromium it will be plus 2, right? So it is 4s1 3d. So it is 4. Now for iron, again the number of unpaired electrons will be 4 here. Scandium, only 3 electrons are there. It is losing all the 3 electrons, means there will be 0 unpaired electron. And for manganese it will be scandium, man, right? So it will be again losing 2, so it will be 5 here. Okay, so which one of them is having same number of unpaired electron? B and D. So the answer is B and D only. The reagents with which glucose does not react to give corresponding tests products are Tollens reagent के साथ it will give, HCl के साथ it will give, NH2OH के साथ it will give, Schiffs and NaHSO3 it will not give a test. Why? Because free aldehyde group will not be there in glucose. In which structure? Ring structure. There is no free aldehyde group. And this particular reagent and NaHSO3 requires the free aldehyde group. Right? So the answer would be B and D. B and E. Option 3 will be the correct answer. B and E. Again, statement question. Given below are two statements. Aniline does not undergo Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction. True. Why? Because in Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction, we have AlCl3 with a vacant orbital. Al has a vacant orbital. Aniline में NH3 will have lone pair. तो lone pair के साथ इसका complex बन जाएगा, insoluble complex, और reaction further proceed नहीं करेगा. तो statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, aniline cannot be prepared through Gabriel synthesis. Why? Because जो in the mechanism we have to add a aromatic halide, aryl halide basically, right? So if you are adding a aryl halide, already that carbon and halide bond will have a partial double bond character, and also nucleophilic, that particular step is a nucleophilic substitution step. So if we form over here this particular carbocation, definitely this is not stable positive over double bond. Okay, so this particular the aniline cannot be prepared through Gabriel synthesis. Two factors are there, so this statement is also correct. So both statement 1 and statement 2 will be correct. Option 1 is the correct answer. Okay, the energy of an electron in the ground state n is equal to 1 for helium plus is minus x joules. Okay, let's take this as E1. So we can directly write E1 by E2 is equal to Z1 square upon N1 square into N2 square upon Z2 square. Okay, where E1 is my x, minus x basically, so minus will get cancelled, it's a ratio, so x, right? So now we will just place the value. Z1 is how much for helium? 2 square upon N1 is given as 1 square into N2 is given as 2 square again, Z for beryllium for Z is 4, so 4 square, that is equal to x upon E2. We have to find out E2, this all will get cancelled, it will give me 1, so E2 is also equal to x. So what should be the answer? Option 1 will be the answer, right? Moving on to the next question. Which plot of ln k versus 1 by t is consistent with Arrhenius equation, right? We can directly also, we know this graph, this is the correct answer. This will be the correct answer. If we write the equation, ln k, you can take ln on both sides, ln a minus Ea by r 1 by t. So this is my x, this is my y, so y is equal to mx plus c curve. So this is my c. So of course we can see that the m is negative. So this is the correct option. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Given below us two statements. The boiling point of 3 isomeric pentanes follows the order n-pentane greater than isopentane greater than neopentane. We very well know that as the branching increases, the boiling point will decrease, and that reason only is given as the statement 2. You can read it. When branching increases, the molecule attains the shape of sphere. So thereby, due to which the intermolecular forces between the spherical molecules are weaker, of course, thereby lowering the boiling point. So statement 1 and statement 2 both are correct. Statement 2 is just the reason for the order that is given in statement 1. So what should be the answer? Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Option 1 is the correct answer. Next, the E0 value for Mn plus 3 to Mn plus 2 couple is more positive than that of Cr plus 3 to Cr plus 2 or Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2 due to the change of. Okay, now what is Mn plus 3? Mn plus 3, D configuration of Mn plus 3 is how much? D4 and this will be D5. Okay, बाकी और कुछ concept का जरूरत भी नहीं है. If we just decipher this, the answer is already here. D4 to D5 configuration. We do not need any further analysis for this. But again, as it is going to a more stable state, the spontaneity will be like the delta G will be lesser, right? And it is in negative means E0 value will be more positive. Okay. So from this particular, if we just decipher the D4 and D5 configuration, our answer will come. Option 3 is the correct answer to this. In which of the following processes entropy increases? Okay. So either we can check where the delta Mg is greater than 0. A liquid evaporates to vapor. It is going to the vapor phase. So kinetic energy is increasing, entropy will increase in the vapor phase. So definitely here it will increase. Temperature of a crystalline solid lowered from 130 Kelvin to 0 Kelvin. Of course, we are decreasing the temperature means that entropy should decrease. So here the entropy should decrease over here. Okay, here we can decipher with delta Ng. Delta Ng value is how much? It is 2, right? 2 minus 0, that is 2. All these are solid. Here also, delta Ng will be equal to 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. So delta Ng is greater than 0 means here also entropy will increase. So the answer would be A, C, D. Option 3 is the correct answer, right? Moving on. Intermolecular hydrogen. ये तो एकदम direct question है. We can see that here the intramolecular hydrogen bonding will be seen. This is the correct answer. Here the intramolecular hydrogen will be observed. Okay, so option 1 is the correct answer. In all other compounds, there will be intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay, arrange the following elements in increasing order of electronegativity. सबसे ज़्यादा highest तो of course we know fluorine होगा, right? So answer would be among these two. Then fluorine, then comes oxygen, then nitrogen, then carbon, then silicon. Silicon का 1.8 होता है, यहाँ पे 4, 3.5, 3, 2.5 according to Pauling scale. So the answer would be option 1. Option 1 would be the correct answer. Okay, which reaction is not a redox reaction? We can directly say these are two salts, double decomposition reaction is taking place. Double decomposition reaction is not a redox reaction. All other reactions here will be redox. Okay, this is going from 0 to plus 2 to 0. Here also, this is plus 5 to 0, 0 to plus 5. Here 0, 0 to plus 1, minus 1. All these three are redox. The last one is our not a redox reaction, it's a double displacement reaction. Moving on to the next question. Okay. Match list 1 with list 2. Okay. So they are asking number of Faraday required. That means we have to calculate the change in the number of electrons. पहले तो ये वाला सीधा सीधा आंसर आएगा. Mn यहाँ पे +7 स्टेट में है, here it is +2 स्टेट में. So it is going from +7 to +2. कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन का चेंज हुआ है? 5 इलेक्ट्रॉन. So that means answer will be 5 Faraday. तो ये मेरा B हो गया. ठीक है. Next CaCl2. ये वाला करते हैं. CaCl2 is giving Ca+2 plus 2Cl minus. ठीक है. तो 1 mole is giving me the change of electrons is 2 electrons. So 1.5 mole में it will be 3 electrons. So the answer should be for this C, 3 Faraday. Okay. Next, 1 mole of FeO to Fe2O3. 2 FeO can give Fe2O3. तो यहाँ पे मेरा +2 है, but 2 मोल है, तो यहाँ पे +4, यहाँ पे +6. तो 2 मोल के लिए the change is 2 electron. So for 1 mole of FeO the change will be 1 Faraday. तो ये वाला हो गया मेरा D. ठीक है, ये वाला हो गया मेरा D. तो आंसर क्या आ जाएगा? ऑप्शन 1. A का 2 है, ऑफ कोर्स तीनों बाकी तीनों कैलकुलेट कर लिए, एक तो हो ही जाएगा. A का 2 है, B का 4, C का 1 एंड D का 3. करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन नंबर 1. Okay, the most stable carbocation among the following is very easy. Hyperconjugation है, we have to just calculate the alpha hydrogens. तो यहाँ पे 1, 2, 3 alpha hydrogen है. 3 alpha hydrogen है इधर. Secondary है ये तो पहले दिख रहा है. ये primary है, ये secondary है. तो इस secondary में secondary tertiary. ये तो सीधा सीधा दिख रहा है कि this is tertiary. यहाँ पे 7 alpha hydrogen है. So this one will be the correct answer. This one will be our correct answer. This is the most stable carbocation. Right? Now, handing over to my colleague Aman sir. He'll continue. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Hi everyone. केमिस्ट्री का पेपर देख के मेरे को लगता है लोग थोड़ा खुश तो हुए होंगे. आई थिंक रामदा मैम अब तक पेपर आसान ही चल रहा है, ठीक है, तो आगे देखने की कोशिश करते हैं आगे क्या है. सो लेट्स गो फॉर द नेक्स्ट वन. ओके, सो नेक्स्ट है कि आपके पास मैच द कॉलम है. मैच द कॉलम में ये बोला गया है कि इधर एक कॉलम में इथेन, इथीन, कार्बन मोनो C2 और इथाइन है, और यहाँ पे किसके पास कितने बॉन्ड होंगे एग्जैक्टली. तो इथेन में 2 कार्बन के बीच में एक सिग्मा बॉन्ड होता है सिर्फ. इथीन में एक सिग्मा 1 पाई होता है. इथाइन में एक सिग्मा 2 पाई होते हैं. और C2 में सिर्फ और सिर्फ 2 पाई मॉलिक्यूल होते हैं. तो अगर आप इससे कैलकुलेट करेंगे तो इसका सीधा सीधा जवाब आपके पास आ जाएगा ऑप्शन नंबर 3. ओके, सिर्फ कार्बन कार्बन के बीच में बॉन्ड खोजना है, ज्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी है. लेट्स गो फॉर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ये मूव करने में मुश्किल कर रहा है. Okay, so among group 16 elements, which one of the following does not show -2 oxidation state? Normally what happens is, as you go down in a period, the metallic character increases for the elements. So oxygen to selenium, the metallic character increases. Selenium to tellurium, the metallic character increases. And polonium is purely a metal. और metal की खासियत क्या है कि metal कभी भी इलेक्ट्रॉन लेता नहीं है, metal हमेशा इलेक्ट्रॉन देता है. तो इसका सीधा सीधा जवाब आपके सामने पोलियम आ जाता है. ठीक है, लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन. ये भी काफी थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चन था वैसे. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज आपके पास दे हैव गिवन हेनरीज लॉ कांस्टेंट फॉर 3 gases A, B and C. One is 145, the other one is 2 into 10 to the power minus 5, and the other one is 35 kilobar. Okay. Now, if you remember Henry's law equation is partial pressure, the solubility is equal to some Kh into the partial pressure. Got it? So technically, the solubility is inversely proportional to the partial pressure in case of Henry's law. Sorry, just a second. Okay, तो हेनरीज लॉ में सॉल्युबिलिटी पार्शियल प्रेशर के इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल होता है, यानी जिसका हेनरीज लॉ कांस्टेंट सबसे कम होगा उसकी सॉल्युबिलिटी सबसे ज्यादा होगी. दैट मेक्स इट B greater than A, B greater than C greater than A. B greater than C greater than A is the second option. Second option आपका करेक्ट आंसर है. मूविंग ऑन. फिलिंग सॉल्यूशन A is, फिलिंग सॉल्यूशन 2 सॉल्यूशंस का मिक्सचर होता है. पहला सॉल्यूशन होता है एक्वस कॉपर सल्फेट व्हिच इज ब्लू, और दूसरा सॉल्यूशन होता है दैट इज अल्कलाइन सॉल्यूशन ऑफ सोडियम पोटेशियम टार्ट्रेट दैट इज कॉल्ड रोशेल्स सॉल्ट. ठीक है, तो इसका आंसर सीधा सीधा आता है एक्वस कॉपर सल्फेट, एंड दैट्स द आंसर 1. तो ये भी काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है, इसमें लोगों को मुश्किल, मेरे आशा है कि मुश्किल नहीं हुई होगी. मूविंग अहेड. ओके, अनदर मैच द कॉलम. ठीक है, मैच द कॉलम करने के लिए आपको सिर्फ 2-3 ऑप्शंस मैच करने हैं, सबको मैच करने की जरूरत नहीं है. तो देखते हैं इसमें क्या है. पहला वाला डायरेक्टली ऑक्सीडेशन हो रहा है. अगर पहला वाला ऑक्सीडेशन हो रहा है तो इस तरीके का ऑक्सीडेशन सिर्फ और सिर्फ ओजोन से होता है, वो भी रिडक्टिव ओजोनोलिसिस के थ्रू. सो द आंसर फॉर A is 4. ओके, नाउ द आंसर फॉर A is 4. आपके वैसे भी सेकंड और फोर्थ ऑप्शन कट गए, 1 और थर्ड आंसर में ऑप्शन में से कोई आएगा. सेकंड वन बी में बेसिकली क्या हो रहा है, फ्रिडलक्राफ्ट एसाइलेशन हो रहा है. फ्रिडलक्राफ्ट एसाइलेशन होता है फर्स्ट के थ्रू, तो बी का आ गया 1. गॉट इट? दोनों ऑप्शन में बी का 1 है, तो यानी सी डिसाइड करेगा. सी में बेसिकली क्या है, एक 2 डिग्री अल्कोहल ऑक्सीडाइज होकर कीटोन बन रहा है. 2 डिग्री अल्कोहल ऑक्सीडाइज होकर कीटोन बनेगा विद CrO3 ओनली. तो CrO3 के साथ ये ऑप्शन हो गया आपका 3, and the answer is A4, B1, C3, and finally D will be sorry. A4, B1, C2 and D3, यानी इसका आंसर आ जाता है थर्ड ऑप्शन. काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है. मूविंग अहेड. नेक्स्ट अगेन एल्कीन का ऑक्सीडेशन है, और एल्कीन का ऑक्सीडेशन इस तरीके से हो रहा है कि ये वाला जो कार्बन है ये ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है, यानी जो टर्मिनल कार्बन है वो ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है. टर्मिनल कार्बन के ऑक्सीडाइज होने के लिए टर्मिनल कार्बन को अल्कोहल बनाना पड़ता है. आपके पास जो भी ऑप्शन है, all the options which you have among these, only BH3 with H2O2 gives anti-Markovnikov product. Hence, the first product will be an OH attached on this carbon, and then the oxidation using KMNO4. Not KMNO4. Then the oxidation using PCC. So it makes it option number B. BH3 के through oxidation to alcohol, and then PCC के through oxidation to aldehyde. Okay, moving ahead. मैच द लिस्ट. अगेन एक मैच द कॉलम. सो पहला वाला ML आपको क्या देता है, ओरिएंटेशन ऑफ द ऑर्बिटल. सो A का वैसे ही 3 हो जाता है. अब A के 3 के साथ अगेन 2 ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट हो जाते हैं, तो आपके लिए फिर आसान हो गया, या तो सेकंड हो सकता है या थर्ड हो सकता है। B का फोर्थ है, B चेक करने की जरूरत नहीं है, तो हम सीधा C पे जाते हैं। C is L, that is the shape of orbital, यानी C का 1 होगा, तो अगर C का 1 होगा तो D का ऑटोमेटिकली the size of the orbital that is 2 होगा, तो इसका आंसर ऑटोमेटिकली 2 हो जाता है। A3, B4, C1 and D2। अगेन अ वेरी सिंपल एंड अ वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन। इसको बनाने में ज्यादा समय लगा होगा, मैं जान सकता हूं, पर गलती होने के चांसेस काफी कम है। So the next one, again match the column. So they are asking basically shape related to these. Okay, so ammonia, everybody knows that it's trigonal pyramidal. BRF3 is square pyramidal. So A का 1 हो जाता है, B का 4 हो जाता है, A का 1 और B का 4, ऐसे सिर्फ एक ही ऑप्शन है। C का 2 भी देख लेते हैं, स्क्वायर प्लानर, और SF6 is nothing but an octahedral complex. So इसका भी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड जवाब है, the answer is 1 for you. मैच द कॉलम में थोड़ा समय लग सकता है, ठीक है, पर गलती होने के चांसेस थोड़े कम हो जाते हैं। अब ये आगे आपके सामने एक न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन, तो इसको देखते हैं। क्वेश्चन है 1 gram of sodium hydroxide was treated with 25 ml of 0.75 molar HCl. The mass of sodium hydroxide left unreacted is। इसका मतलब ये जो है, ये सीधा सीधा लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट है। तो पता कर लेते हैं लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट है कितना आखिरकार। तो लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट पता करने के लिए अगर हम इसके मिलीमोल्स को कैलकुलेट करते हैं, तो इसका मिलीमोल्स आता है कुछ 25 into 0.75, that is approximately 18.75। दिस इज मिलीमोल्स, ठीक है। अब इसको हम 40 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे तो बेसिकली आ जाता है कितना रिएक्ट किया है 1 ग्राम से, 750 ग्राम्स रिएक्ट किया है। अगर 750 ग्राम्स मिलीग्राम्स, आई एम सो सॉरी, 750 मिलीग्राम्स अगर रिएक्ट किया है 1 ग्राम से, इसका मतलब 250 मिलीग्राम्स बचे हैं, तो इसका जवाब सीधे सीधे 2 आ जाता है। सीधा सीधा लिमिटिंग रिएजेंट का सवाल है, आप एक का कैलकुलेट करें और दूसरे से सबट्रैक्ट करते हैं, ठीक है। मूविंग है। ओके, अनदर कॉम्प्लेक्स, आपके पास कॉम्प्लेक्स दिए हुए हैं और इसमें से कौन सा आइसोमरिज्म शो करेगा वो दिया हुआ है। अगर आप पहला कॉम्प्लेक्स ध्यान से देखें, सो इट्स NO2। NO2 can show linkage isomerism. So for the first one, the option is 2, that is linkage isomerism. Again, if you look at the options, 2 are automatically eliminated. 2 and 3 are automatically eliminated. So either the answer can be 1 or it can be 4. So let's go back. The second one is SO4 and Br. This can give you ionization isomerism. तो फर्स्ट और सेकंड में से आयनाइजेशन आइसोमेरिज्म सिर्फ और सिर्फ फर्स्ट वाले ऑप्शन में है, बाकी देख लेते हैं। सी वाला ऑप्शन आपको कोऑर्डिनेशन आइसोमेरिज्म दे देगा और डी वाला ऑप्शन आपको सॉल्वेट या हाइड्रेशन आइसोमेरिज्म दे देगा। सो द आंसर ऑटोमेटिकली गोस टू ऑप्शन नंबर 1। मूविंग अहेड, ड्यूरिंग द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ Morse salt, that is ferrous ammonium sulfate, which of the following acid is added to prevent hydrolysis of Fe2+? Now the idea is very simple. Fe2+, if oxidized to Fe3+, will undergo hydrolysis. तो इसको बचाने के लिए क्या करना है? Never ever ever use a concentrated H2SO4। और इस प्रोसेस में जब आप देखते हैं तो a pinch of H2SO4 with water का solution यूज होता है ammonium sulfate के साथ, to convert it to ammonium sulfate basically। तो इसका सीधा सीधा जवाब है कि हम डाइल्यूट H2SO4 यूज करते हैं, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड यूज नहीं करते हैं, क्योंकि Fe2+ goes to Fe3+ और वहां पे हाइड्रोलिसिस होने के चांसेस बढ़ जाते हैं। Hence the answer is dilute sulfuric acid, that is 4। Moving ahead, सॉल्ट एनालिसिस। एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्ट एनालिसिस से आया है, थोड़ा सा मतलब लोगों को लगा ये डिफिकल्ट है, पर काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है अगर आपको आइडिया होगा तो। So given below are certain cations using inorganic qualitative analysis, arrange them in the increasing order from 0 to 4. Okay, so अगर आप देखोगे तो sorry एक मिनट, so if you go for this, copper belongs from group 2, aluminium is from group 3, then cobalt is from group 4, barium is from group 5 and magnesium is from group 6। तो इसका सीधा सीधा जवाब आ जाएगा BADCE, BADCE, यानी इसका सीधा सीधा जवाब A है। ये काफी मेमोरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चन था, तो अगर आपको मुश्किल लगी होगी तो अगर आपने इसको एस्केप भी कर दिया है, दैट्स ओके। आई एम होपिंग आगे क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होंगे जो काफी ज्यादा स्कोरिंग होंगे। नेक्स्ट वन, मेजर प्रोडक्ट A एंड BR। सो इस रिएक्शन में बेसिकली हो क्या रहा है कि पहला वाला PBr3 है जो बेसिकली एक हेलोजेनेटिंग एजेंट है। तो पहला वाला रिएक्शन जो होगा वो ये इस OH को रिप्लेस करने वाला होगा, तो OH will be replaced by the halogen creating a bromohalide, and that is option that is this। And then obviously there will be an elimination with alcoholic KOH making the most stable product, that is the Centum product, और Centum product भी आपका ऑप्शन नंबर B। यानी ऑब्वियसली इनमें से सबसे सही जवाब ऑप्शन नंबर 1 आ जाता है। ठीक है, मूविंग है। The pair of lanthanoids in which are diamagnetic. Now इसमें मतलब अगर आप सारे ऑप्शंस को ध्यान से देखोगे तो पहली बार में आपको पकड़ में आ जाएगा। कैसे? अगर आप सीरियम 4+ के बारे में ध्यान से सोचोगे तो सीरियम 4+ के पास 4f 0 हो जाता है। हमें सीरियम 4+ के बारे में क्यों पता है? क्योंकि सीरियम 4+ का हम ऑक्सीडाइज्ड रेडॉक्स इलेक्ट्रोड बनाते हैं, तो वहां पे सीरियम 4+ के पास कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन नहीं रहता है 4f में, तो 4f हो गया 0। वहीं पे इट्रिपियम 2+ में क्या होता है? इट्रिपियम 2+ के पास एक 4f14 की कॉन्फ़िगरेशन होती है। 4f14 आपको पता है एक फुलफिल्ड ऑर्बिटल हो जाता है, जहां पे वहां 0 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स पॉसिबल है अनपेयर्ड। यानी इसका भी जवाब आता है नंबर 1, दैट इज सीरियम 4+ एंड इट्रिपियम 2+। काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन था। मूविंग अहेड, आइडेंटिफाई द करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट सॉरी द करेक्ट आंसर। पहला वाला, 3 स्ट्रक्चर्स कैन बी ड्रॉन फ्रॉम ओजोन। सबको पता है ओजोन के 2 ही स्ट्रक्चर हो सकते हैं, एक ही बॉन्ड इधर से उधर जा सकता है, तीसरा कहां उसको हिलाओगे आखिरकार, तो सिर्फ 2 ही स्ट्रक्चर है उसके। BF3 has non-zero dipole moment। BF3 एक सिमेट्रिकल स्ट्रक्चर है, इट्स अ ट्रायगोनल प्लानर स्ट्रक्चर, ऑब्वियसली जीरो डाइपोल मोमेंट होगा। NF3 का डाइपोल मोमेंट NH3 से ज्यादा होगा, नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि NH3 में सारे के सारे डाइपोल मोमेंट एग्रीगेट करते हैं, NF3 में सारा का सारा डिस्पर्स करता है, तो NF3 का लोअर होना चाहिए। ऑब्वियसली फोर्थ वाला ऑप्शन करेक्ट है। 3 कैनोनिकल फॉर्म्स कैन बी ड्रॉन फॉर CO3 2-, जिसके थ्रू आप फॉर्मल चार्ज भी कैलकुलेट करते हो। सीधा साधा सवाल है, सीधा साधा जवाब है ऑप्शन नंबर 4। मूविंग है। ओके, एक मिनट जाइए, शायद ज्यादा मूव कर गया। जस्ट सेकंड, एक क्वेश्चन हमारा मिस हुआ है। ओके, यस, कमिंग बैक नाउ। ये सिंपल एम्पिरिकल फॉर्मूला वाला क्वेश्चन है। आपके पास A है, which is 32%। मैं एक बार शॉर्ट में दिखा देता हूं आपको। आपके पास A है, that is 32%। तो हमने मान लिया कि आपका पूरा कंपाउंड 100 ग्राम का है, 100 ग्राम से, ठीक है। तो आपके पास A हो गया 32, आपके पास B हो गया 20, और आपके पास C हो गया जो बचा 52, सॉरी 58, माय बैड, 58 बचा, ठीक है। अब इसका मॉलिक्यूलर मास है आपके पास 64, इसका मॉलिक्यूलर मास है 40, इसका मॉलिक्यूलर मास है 32। मेरे से कुछ शायद गलती हुई है, ये 48 होना चाहिए, आई एम सो सॉरी। So A 32, B 20 and C 42 divided by 64 divided by 40 divided by 32, ये आ गया 0.5, ये आ गया 0.5, ये आ गया 1.5। आपको पता है एम्पिरिकल फार्मूला के लिए सबको होल नंबर में कन्वर्ट करने की जरूरत है, तो हम इसको सीधा मल्टीप्लाई कर देते हैं by the lowest common factor, that is 2। so this is 1, this is 1 and this is 3, and the formula comes out to be as AB3। काफी सीधा साधा सवाल है, ठीक है। अब थोड़ा सा इसको समय दोगे, अपने आप हो जाएगा ये। मूविंग अहेड, ओके। सो द वर्क डन ड्यूरिंग रिवर्सिबल, ये अनदर न्यूमेरिकल है। मैं समझ सकता हूं कि इस न्यूमेरिकल को बनाने में समय लगा होगा, पर आप देखेंगे इसका सॉल्यूशन काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है, काफी आसान है, ठीक है। सवाल ये है कि द वर्क डन ड्यूरिंग रिवर्सिबल आइसोथर्मल एक्सपेंशन ऑफ 1 मोल ऑफ हाइड्रोजन गैस एट 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस फ्रॉम प्रेशर 20 एटमॉस्फेयर टू 10 एटमॉस्फेयर, ठीक है। नाउ द आइडिया इज that W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log of P1 by P2। यहाँ पे अक्सर बच्चे गलती कर देते हैं, क्योंकि वो सोचते हैं कि P2 by P1 होगा, वो वॉल्यूम वाला इक्वेशन लगा देते हैं। पर यहाँ पे आपको थोड़ा सा ध्यान देना है कि वॉल्यूम और प्रेशर इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल होते हैं, तो P1 by P2 हो जाएगा। आप यहाँ पे सारे वैल्यूज पुट करोगे, N is equal to 1 है, R 8.R is equal to 2 कैलोरीज। अगेन इस पे भी ध्यान देना है कि लोग 8.314 कर देते हैं, यहाँ पे जो डेटा दिया गया है उसको यूटिलाइज करना है। And temperature is equal to 298 Kelvin, P1 is equal to 20, P2 is equal to 10। जब आप पूरा कैलकुलेट करेंगे then you basically get 413.14 कैलोरीज। अगेन लोग R में गलती करते हैं, R में गलती नहीं करते हैं, ठीक है। मूविंग है, another numerical question। So mass in grams of copper deposited by passing 9.6487 amperes through a voltmeter containing copper sulfate solution for 100 seconds। अब यहाँ पे पहले ना सीधा कूलम कैलकुलेट कर लेते हैं। यहाँ पे आया बेसिकली 49 पॉइंट, यहाँ पे आया the charge present is equal to 9.6487 into 100, जो आ जाता है 964.87 बेसिकली इतने कूलम पास हुए। अब इतने कूलम पास हुए तो एक फराड में 96500 कूलम होते हैं, सबको पता है। तो कितने फराड एग्जैक्टली यहाँ पे मिले? सो 965.87 डिवाइडेड बाय 96500, तो यहाँ पे अप्रोक्सीमेटली 0.01 कूलम मिलता है आपको, ठीक है। अब यहां से आइडिया सिंपल है कि कॉपर 2+ से कॉपर जाता है, यानी आपको 2 फराड चाहिए, ठीक है, 63.5 ग्राम जमा करने के लिए, डिपॉजिट करने के लिए। आपके पास कितना है? आपके पास 0.01 फराड है, तो बेसिकली क्या होगा, 63.5 divided by 2 into 0.01 farad, which is nothing but 0.315 grams। सारी चीजें आप फॉर्मूले में पुट कर लो, जवाब सीधा सीधा आ जाएगा। थोड़ा समय लगेगा, बट न्यूमेरिकल उतना भी डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि जो आपका चार्ट दिया हुआ है वो डायरेक्टली डिविजिबल है 96500 से, तो वो सीधा साधा जवाब आ जाएगा आपका, ठीक है। मूविंग है, consider the following reaction in a sealed vessel at equilibrium with concentration of N2, O2 and NO, और आपके पास equilibrium दिया गया है, ठीक है। If 0.1 mole liter per liter of NO is taken in a closed vessel, what would be the degree of dissociation, यानी अल्फा पूछा हुआ है बेसिकली। अब इस सवाल को पढ़ के लोग सोचेंगे कि यार इसी से रिलेटेड सारी चीजें हैं, पर ये दो अलग अलग सिनेरियो हैं। मैं आपको थोड़ा सा बता देता हूं इसके बारे में। दिस इज सिनेरियो नंबर 1, जहां पे ये इक्विलिब्रियम है और उसकी ये कॉन्सेंट्रेशन दी गई है। दूसरा सिनेरियो है कि हम एक डिफरेंट सिचुएशन में 0.1 मोल पर लीटर या 0.1 मोलर NO लेके आ रहे हैं। ये कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट सिचुएशन है, ठीक है। अब इन दोनों को क्रैक कैसे करें? पहली चीज ये कि मुझे जब इक्विलिब्रियम में कॉन्सेंट्रेशन दी गई है, तो मैं सीधा केसी निकाल सकता हूं। केसी क्या होगा? कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ N2 into कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ O2 डिवाइडेड बाय कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ NO का होल स्क्वायर। सारी वैल्यूज पुट करोगे सीधा 1.6 के आसपास आता है, ठीक है। अब आपको पता है कि इक्विलिब्रियम कॉन्सेंट्रेशन चेंज नहीं करती है, अगर आप कॉन्सेंट्रेशन चेंज कर भी दोगे तो, यानी ये वैल्यू कांस्टेंट रहती है। इस वैल्यू सिर्फ और सिर्फ टेंपरेचर से बदलती है, वरना ये वैल्यू कांस्टेंट रहती है, ठीक है। इसको यूज कैसे करेंगे? अब मुझे दिया गया है कि एक दूसरे सेपरेट कंडीशन में N2 और O2 इस्तेमाल हो रहे हैं। मैं क्या करता हूं, पहले सबको डिवाइड कर देता हूं, क्योंकि मुझे अल्फा पूछा है, तो अल्फा मेरे को NO के हिसाब से चाहिए, तो मैं इनको डिवाइड करता हूं। ये हो गया प्लस हाफ O2, ठीक है। अब ये हो गया 0.1 माइनस अल्फा, ये हो गया अल्फा बाय 2, ये हो गया अल्फा बाय 2। फिर से केसी का एक्सप्रेशन लिखो, 1.6 इज इक्वल टू अल्फा बाय 2 होल स्क्वायर डिवाइडेड बाय 0.1 माइनस अल्फा। जब आप इस इक्वेशन से अल्फा कैलकुलेट करोगे तो अल्फा आ जाता है 0.717 के अप्रोक्सीमेट, हेंस द आंसर फॉर दिस इज 0.717। ध्यान ये रखना है कि ये दो डिफरेंट केसेस हैं। पहले वाले केस से केसी कैलकुलेट करना है, दूसरे वाले केस में केसी यूटिलाइज करके अल्फा कैलकुलेट करना है, ठीक है। मूविंग अहेड, थोड़ा सा कैलकुलेटिव था, मुझे लगता है कि अगर मतलब आपने इस क्वेश्चन को मिस भी किया होगा तो बहुत ज्यादा कुछ बिगड़ा नहीं है, क्योंकि काफी लंबा कैलकुलेशन था इसमें। मूविंग है, इस क्वेश्चन में देखिए अगेन आप एल्कीन का ऑक्सीडेशन कर रहे हैं, और एल्कीन का ऑक्सीडेशन कर रहे हैं KMnO4 इन एसिडिक मीडियम, मतलब हाइड्रोलिसिस कर रहे हैं आप KMnO4 के साथ। सो ऑक्सीडेशन ही नहीं हो रहा, हाइड्रोलिसिस भी हो रहा है, और हाइड्रोलिसिस ऑक्सीडेशन में हमेशा प्रोडक्ट एक ही पॉसिबल है, एंड दैट इज COOH, और कोई प्रोडक्ट पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। तो ये बेसिकली यहां से टूटेगा, ये यहां से टूट के 2 गुना COH बन जाएगा। पहले एल्डिहाइड बनेगा, फिर लेटर एक्सक्लूसिवली ऑक्सीडाइज होकर कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड बन जाएगा। तो इसका आंसर सीधा सीधा ऑप्शन नंबर 2 है। ओके, मूविंग अहेड, द रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन क्वाड्रुपल्स। अगेन ये आरएनएस इक्वेशन का क्वेश्चन है। द रेट ऑफ रिएक्शन क्वाड्रुपल्स व्हेन द टेंपरेचर चेंज फ्रॉम 27 डिग्री सेल्सियस टू 57 डिग्री सेल्सियस। आर की वैल्यू दी हुई है, log 4 की वैल्यू दी हुई है। आरएनएस इक्वेशंस अगर आपको याद होगा, ऐसा एक और क्वेश्चन आपके इसी पेपर में था। सो log of K2 by K1 is equal to EA by 2.303 R into 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2, ठीक है। कि log of K2 by K1 बेसिकली 4 है, ये आपको कैलकुलेट करना है। R आपको पता ही है, R is given as 8.314, T1 हो जाएगा 300, T2 हो जाएगा 330। ये सारे वैल्यू जब आप पुट करेंगे तो आपका आंसर आएगा 38.04 किलो जूल्स पर मोल। अगेन ये थोड़ा सा कैलकुलेटिव है, पर आपको पता है कि अराउंड फ्रॉम 50 क्वेश्चंस यू जस्ट हैव टू सॉल्व 45, सो यू हैव द लेजर to exclude some of the questions because they are very calculative, so you can save time. Basically you can save time and apply it to other subjects as well. Sure, moving ahead, identify the following product. Okay, तो सबसे पहले क्या होता है, आइडो साइनाइड के साथ रिएक्ट करता है, which is basically substitution. So सबसे पहले यहाँ पे substitution होगा। साइनाइड का जब पार्शियल हाइड्रोलिसिस होता है तो साइनाइड का पार्शियल हाइड्रोलिसिस विल गिव यू अमाइन. So the idea is first you get something like this and then you'll get something like this. उसके बाद हॉफमैन ब्रोमाइड रिएक्शन है. हॉफमैन ब्रोमाइड रिएक्शन इज नथिंग बट डीकार्बोक्सिलेशन. इसको यहां से हटाओ और इस कार्बन को सीधा NH2 के पास जोड़ दो. व्हाट विल यू गेट? यू विल गेट प्रोपाइल अमाइन. हमेशा याद रखना हॉफमैन ब्रोमाइड डिसइंटीग्रेशन में डीकार्बोक्सिलेशन के कारण जो भी प्रोडक्ट होगा उसमें एक कार्बन कम होगा, इसलिए ब्यूटानामाइन ना आंसर होके प्रोपाइलमाइन आंसर हो गया इसका. मूविंग अहेड. ओके, सो द प्रोडक्ट ऑब्टेन्ड A and B, ये काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है. मतलब अगर PCl3 है तो H3PO3 बनेगा, पूरा का पूरा 3 मोल रिएक्ट कर जाएगा. और अगर PCl5 है तो थर्मोडायनामिकली हमें एक इंटरमीडिएट स्टेबल मिल जाएगा, दैट इज POCl3. तो इसका आंसर सीधा सीधा हो जाएगा ऑप्शन नंबर 4, H3PO3 एंड POCl3. मतलब PCl5 के पास कोई बीच का इंटरमीडिएट बचता नहीं है एंड PCl3 के पास सॉरी और PCl5 के पास अब POCl3 बचा है. मूविंग अहेड, सो आंसर इसका 4 है गाइस. एक मिनट. चलो पहले इस पे जाते हैं फिर पिछले वाले पे चल जाएंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. तो स्टेटमेंट 1 क्या बोल रहे हैं हमें? स्टेटमेंट 1 बोला है कि ये जो पहला वाला कॉम्प्लेक्स है ये होमोलिप्टिक है. होमोलिप्टिक कॉम्प्लेक्स वो होते हैं जिसमें सिर्फ एक ही तरीके का लिगेंड होता है. और दूसरा वाला बोल रहा है कि हेटेरोलिप्टिक है. सही बात है भाई, इसमें क्लोरीन है, इसमें अमोनिया है, इसमें सिर्फ अमोनिया है. स्टेटमेंट 2 दिया हुआ है कि हैज ओनली वन काइंड ऑफ लिगेंड एंड हैज मोर देन वन काइंड ऑफ लिगेंड. सो बेसिकली स्टेटमेंट 1 का एक्सप्लेनेशन स्टेटमेंट 2 है. तो स्टेटमेंट 1 भी करेक्ट है, स्टेटमेंट 2 भी करेक्ट है, यानी इसका आंसर हो जाएगा अगेन ऑप्शन नंबर 1. ठीक है, मैं एक पिछले वाले सवाल पे चला जाता हूं जो हमारा मिस हो गया है. यस, so the plot for osmotic pressure versus the concentration for a solution in a straight line with the slope 25.73 liter bar. आइडिया ये है गाइस कि pi is equal to CRT होता है. ठीक है, अब इसको y is equal to mx plus c के टर्म्स में करें तो y is equal to mx plus c. तो आपका जो स्लोप है वो बेसिकली RT है. तो यहां से आप सीधा पुट कर सकते हैं RT is equal to 25.73 और यहां से आप टेंपरेचर कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं 25.73 डिवाइडेड बाय 0.083. अगर आप एक्यूरेटली कैलकुलेट करोगे तो ये बिल्कुल 37 डिग्री सेल्सियस बन के आता है. ठीक है, ये हमारा आखिरी सवाल था. आई होप आपको केमिस्ट्री में काफी मजा आया होगा क्योंकि पेपर तो आपके लिए आसान था. ठीक है, अब करते हैं चलिए बायो का डिस्कशन.
Remember 2 times what?
Also, a little bit, that's all.
Oh, अच्छा.
Where will you keep this? Keep it there, man. और कितने मिनट ना ये
किसी घुमाते हुए करेंगे. अयो.
Good evening, everyone. So we are discussing bio now. The paper code is R2. Okay. So I'm starting with botany. So here goes your first question. Okay. So please don't mind about the messy areas there. Just let's focus on the questions here. Spindle fibers attach to kinetochore of chromosomes during metaphase. Kinetochores are the disc-shaped proteins during metaphase. So spindle fibers attach to that to pull the chromosomes to the poles. All right. So the correct answer is metaphase. So it's metaphysics. So second question. So yeah, bulliform cells are responsible for. So bulliform cells you find in monocotyledons. So they help in controlling, preventing the water loss. So they help during the stressful condition. They help the leaves to roll up. So therefore, inward curling of leaves in monocot is the right answer. Option 4 is the correct answer. So now let's go to question 3. The capacity to generate whole plant from the cell of a plant. Please remember here, it's from the cell of a plant is the cell of a plant. Sorry, just a minute. So the cell of a plant. So from a single cell, we are getting a whole plant. The total potential of the cell to develop into a complete plant is totipotency. Hence, the answer 4 is the right option. So question 4. This is a very easy question. Several times it has come in NEET. The transcription unit in DNA is defined primarily by the 3 regions. So in DNA, and these are with respect to the upstream with respect to the template strand. It's not about the template strand, it's about the coding strand upstream, and that is at the upstream we have promoter, structural gene and terminator. Hence, the option 3 is the correct answer. So match list 1 with list 2. Clostridium butylicum. Clostridium butylicum is responsible for the formation of butyric acid. Okay, let's match that. And Saccharomyces cerevisiae is yeast. It's responsible for the formation of ethanol during fermentation. Trichoderma polysporum is responsible for the formation of cyclosporin, and Streptococcus forms streptokinase. So therefore, option, so the correct matching here will be, so A4, B, okay, A4, once again, A4, B1, and C is 4, and D2, option 2 is the correct answer. So let's go to the next question, that is question number 606. So here, match list 1 with list 2. 2 or more alternative forms of the genes, that is allele, so A2, A3, and cross of F1 progeny with the homozygous recessive is a test cross. So B4, cross of F1 progeny with any of the parent, so that is a back cross. So, and number of chromosome sets is a ploidy. So we call it as ploidy. So therefore, option 106 is 2 is the right option. So let's go to the question 107. So hint 2, Haemophilus influenza to always cut DNA molecules at a particular point called recognition site sequence, and it consists of 6 base pairs. This is a very much NCRT value that is given, so very important. So that is 6 base pairs. Option 1 is the right answer. So in a plant, black seed color is dominant over white seed color. So in order to find out the genotype of the black seed, so black seed plants, with which of the following genotype will you cross it? So here, what is that? In order to find the genotype of the black seeds, so it's an unknown. So which one you will cross it with? So it's a recessive parent you will cross it with. So crossing with the recessive parent, the question is repeated in a different frame and hence the test cross. So option 1 is the right answer. So 109 question. So 109 is, just a minute. So these are regarded as major causes of biodiversity loss. So there are list of things that's given in your chapter related to this biodiversity. So these are causes of loss of biodiversity. So causes of major loss of biodiversity. Yes, over exploitation. Yes, it causes. Coexisted. Yes, mutation does not, and migration does not. So A, B, and D, yes. So A, B, D is given in option 3. That is the right answer. So going to question 10. Okay, so this is from photosynthesis. How many molecules of ATP and NADPH are required for every molecule of CO2 to get fixed in Calvin cycle? Calvin cycle is a C3 cycle. So every molecule of carbon dioxide, this is the catch here. So every molecule. So every molecule means the cycle goes 6 times, but we need to find out for every molecule. We know that there are 18 ATPs and 12 NADP divided by 6, which is 3 molecules of ATP and 2 molecules of NADPH is the right answer. Option 3 is the correct answer. So 111, which one of the following can be explained on the basis of Mendel's law of dominance? So this is from the Principles of Inheritance chapter. So out of one pair of the factors, one is dominant and another is recessive. Yes, this is what the law of dominance says. Yes, that's right. So alleles do not show any expression and both of the characters appear as such. So in the F2 generation, so yes, the alleles do not show any expression. That's wrong. They show. So factors occur in pairs in normal diploid. Yes, factors always occur in space. Factors what Mendel called, and that is what is called as genes later on. Okay, so and then the discrete unit controlling that character is a factor. Yes, that is factor. And the expression of only one of the parental characters is found in a monohybrid cross. So therefore, the option 1 is the right answer. So here you need to find out all the correct ones. So now going to 112 question. List of endangered species was released by, this is directly from the NCRT, so that is IUCN, so International Union of Conservation of Nature is the right answer. So IUCN is the right answer. Option 3 is the correct answer for this. So tropical regions, the question from biodiversity. So every line from your NCRT is written here, given here. So the phrase, direct phrase from your NCRT. So let us take a look here. Let's read all of them and take a look. So this is 113 question. So tropical latitudes have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years. Hence, more time was available for the species diversification. Yes, it has remained relatively undisturbed. That's what. So your NCRT says. So that's right. A is right. So here you need to find out the correct answer. Options from the given options. So tropical environment are more seasonal, less seasonal is what your NCRT says. That's wrong. So this is wrong. More solar energy is available. Yes, more solar energy is available at the tropical place. That's right. Constant environment promote niche specialization. Yes, constant environment will determine the role played by every species there. So that is right. And tropical environment are constant and predictable. Since it is less seasonal, it's more constant, and yes, it can be predictable, and more vegetation and more flora and fauna. So therefore, option 4 is the right answer. All these A, C, D, and E are correct here. So question number 114. So this is a very primitive questions, very simple. I think for the paper today, this is the simplest question. So nucleolus, centriole, leucoplast, Golgi apparatus, which you have studied, been studied from long time, is asked here. So here, nucleolus is for site of ribosomal RNA synthesis. A3, centriole, organization like a cartwheel. B2, leucoplast is the storing nutrients, elaioplast, amyloplast, and alluroplast. And Golgi apparatus, site for formation of glycolipid. Yes, the processing takes place and the glycolipid is formed in the Golgi apparatus, that is D1. So the correct option here is A3, B4. Yes, B4 is only one, so very easy to figure out. So the option is 2. 114. Let's go to the next question. So 150. Which of the following is an example of actinomorphic flower? So here, cassia is given, pisum is given, sesbania is given. So all the 3 flowers belong to Leguminosae, Fabaceae family, whereas Datura belong to Solanaceae. So in Fabaceae it is zygomorphic, in Solanaceae it is actinomorphic, hence the answer is Datura. So 116, identify the set of correct statements here. 116 question. So here, correct statements we need to identify. So remember that. So the flowers of Vallisneria are colorful and produce nectar. Vallisneria are hydrophilous flowers. So they do not produce nectar and neither they are colorful. So that is incorrect. The flowers of water lily are not pollinated. Though they are hydrophyte, the flowers are not on the inside the water. They are above the surface. They are entomophilous or anemophilous. So hence are not pollinated by flower. Yes. In most of the water pollinated flowers, the pollen grains are protected from wetting with a mucilaginous coating. Yes, that is protected. That is given. So pollen grains of some hydrophytes are long and ribbon-like. In zoster seagrasses, we find that. Yes, that is right. So in hydrophytes, the pollen grains are carried passively. In zostera seagrasses, it is carried passively. So that is also right. So therefore, all these statements are correct except A, B, C, D, and E is a correct answer for this. So let's go to the next question, 117th question. So that is, okay. So here, what is the fate of a piece of DNA carrying only the gene of interest? So here, the option is the gene of interest which is transferred into an alien organism. It is transferred into an alien organism. The piece of DNA would be able to multiply itself independently in the progeny, not possible without a vector, so that is not correct. So it may get integrated with the genome of the recipient. Yes, it will get integrated. So it may multiply and be inherited along with the host DNA. That is the reason we are choosing it. Yes. So the alien piece of DNA is not an integral part of chromosome. No, it is an integral part. It shows ability to replicate. So not possible. So therefore, B and C is the correct option. So here we need to look for the correct option. So option 2 is right. So question 118. So 118 is a class 9 question basically. So statement 1 says parenchyma is living. Yes, parenchyma is living. And collenchyma is dead. No, it is also living. So because and is given and therefore we cannot consider this statement is correct. So it's a wrong statement. So statement 2, gymnosperms lack xylem vessels. Vessels are not there in gymnosperms. Tracheids are there, parenchyma is there, and fibers are there. But how do they carry? Tracheids are the main water conducting cells in gymnosperms. So whereas presence of xylem vessel is a characteristic of angiosperms. Yes, it is very advanced, and in the advanced body design it is found. Hence, it's found in the angiosperms, and that statement is right. So statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. Option 3 is the right answer. Formation of interfascicular cambium. Very good question, this one. So plant growth and development and anatomy, in both the places we find this question. So interfascicular cambium, the cambium which is present in between the vascular bundles. So some of the, that is medullary rays, get de-differentiated and start dividing again. So which we call as secondary growth. So from a fully developed parenchyma cells. So it is de-differentiation. If it is formed in from the primary parenchyma, so in the beginning of the plant body, so then it would be differentiation. So now it undergoes de-differentiation to act as meristematic tissues. So it is de-differentiation. Option 2 is the right answer. So coming to the question 120. So which of the following is not the criteria for the classification of fungi? So you know that classification of fungi is phycomycetes, basidiomycetes, ascomycetes, and deuteromycetes. So now how these 4 classes are done, on what criteria it is classified further. So mode of nutrition. To classify the group fungi is mode of nutrition, but not for the further classification of fungi. So mode of spore formation, spores are produced in the fruiting bodies, yes, and the morphology of mycelium, whether it is a cenocytic or septate. So this is what we look at. So hence option B, C, and D are correct. So which one of the following is not is given? Answer is A, 1. So 121, the cofactor of the enzyme carboxypeptidase. Carboxypeptidase, the cofactors are those which are either metallic or non-metallic. So they are not protein part. So they are bind to the enzyme to enhance the function of the enzyme. So this cofactor that's required for the carboxypeptidase is zinc. So question 122. Yes. Auxin is, so this one please listen carefully. Plant growth and development. So auxin is used by gardeners to prepare weed-free lawn. Weed. So which auxin? So in your NCRT they have given the name of the auxin that acts as a weedicide. Synthetic auxin that is also a weedicide, herbicide, 2,4-D. So when that is used, so it do not damage the grass. Grass is a monocot. Please listen. Grass is a monocot. So therefore, it does not, so this auxin particular herbicide is not damaging the grass. Why? Because it does not affect mature monocotyledonous plants. So it is only for the dicotyledonous weeds. Hence, the option 2 is the right answer for this. Okay, so here a pink colored flowered snapdragon plant is crossed with the red flower. So we know that this belongs to the incomplete dominance concept. So what type of phenotype are expected in the progeny? So you know that pink flower. So pink flower appears always in the heterozygous condition and crossed with the red flower. Red flower is a homozygous condition, right? So, I'm sorry, let me use. Pink is in the heterozygous condition. Red is in the homozygous condition. Red flower produce only one gamete. Pink flower produce two type of the gametes. So when they are crossed, it is possible for you to get red flowers and pink flowers. So both red flowers as well as pink flowers are formed. So option 1 is the right answer for this. So going to the question number 124. Okay. So which of the following required for the dark reaction? Dark reaction is a biosynthetic reaction, light independent reaction. So light is not required for it. So since light is not required, chlorophyll is also not required. So both are not required for this. So what is required then? CO2 is required. Energy precursors that are formed during the light reactions, that is ATP and NADPH, are required, and therefore C, D, E is the right answer. Okay, so this is again from your biological classification. Rhizopus. So rhizopus, we all know that it is a bread mold. Astilago is smut causing fungus. Okay, Puccinia is a rust, smut and rust. Astilago smut and Puccinia rust, and agaricus is a technical term for scientific name for mushroom. So the option is here A3, B2, A3, B2, A3, B2, and C4 and D1. Option 4 is the right answer. Okay, so you know that lactose is a disaccharide. So it's present in the growth medium of the bacteria and is transported to the cell by the action of, so permitting the lactose into the cell is by permease. Very simple question. So the technical term gives the meaning as well here. So option 2 is the right answer. 127. Sliding of the, pushing the slides to the, okay. So this question is from organisms and population again. So the equation of Weddell-Pearl, the logistic growth is from this equation. So this is the equation that's given in your NCERT. From this equation, so what do you understand by K? So what this K indicates? K is the carrying capacity. So that the capacity, when the limited or resources are limited, okay, when the resources are limited in the environment, so the environment will have a particular range to carry, particular weight, so it can carry on the limited number of organisms. It can make the survive, I mean the potent organisms only can survive, the strong organisms only can survive. That's the meaning of this carrying capacity. Okay, again, so this is inhibition of succinic dehydrogenase. Succinic dehydrogenase is a complex 2 enzyme, so which is also participating in electron transport along with the Krebs cycle. So succinate dehydrogenase is an enzyme which helps, catalyzes the reaction. So succinic acid to fumaric acid. So during that, so if at all malonate is present, so then, so it will mimic the succinate, and therefore it will inhibit the action of succinic dehydrogenase. Hence, it is a competitive inhibitor. Okay. So the type of conservation in which the threatened species are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in a special setting. Taken out and placed in a special setting is a key phrase here. So where they can be protected and given special care is an ex situ conservation. So ex situ, in situ are the types of biodiversity conservation. So hence we can call it as a biodiversity conservation. Option 1 is the right answer. Okay, so this is exactly the same pictures given in your NCRT. So identify the type of flowers based on the position of the calyx, corolla and androecium. So based on this, so this is both are perigynous, which we see in rose, plum and peach. Okay, so this is perigynous and perigynous respectively. Option 3 is the correct answer. Question 131. So here, Bt toxins are insect group specific and they are coded by the gene Cry1AC. So yes, Cry genes, a group of Cry genes, that's what the NCRT says. But, so they are mentioning it is coded by gene Cry-AC. So that is right answer. But if they have had given only, then we could have said this statement is wrong, but the only is not given. So only is not given. Yes, it is coded by, so we can say the statement 1 is right. And the second statement, Bt toxin exists as inactive prototoxin in Bacillus thuringiensis? Yes. So however, after ingestion by the insect, the inactive prototoxin gets converted into an active form due to the acidic pH. No, it's not the acidic pH, it's the alkaline pH in the gut of the insect, and hence that option is wrong. So option 1 is right and option 2 is false. So that should be your answer. Lecithin. The structure of lecithin is given in your biomolecules. A smaller molecular organic compound found in every tissue, found in the plasma membrane, and it is nothing but phospholipid. Simplest question for today. So now there are two statements here. So this is question number 133. So there are two statements here. Let us see the statement. Now, chromosomes become gradually visible under light microscope during leptotene state. Right. So the beginning of the diplotin is by dissolution of synaptonemal complex. Yes. So the statements are correct here. So hence we can say that yes, becomes gradually visible during light microscope during leptotene stage and the beginning. So both the statements are true here, option 4. So now let's go to question 134. So 134 is a picture. So this is from the morphology of flowering plants and identify the part of the seed from the given figure. So here A is coleoptile and B is plumule. So this is radical coleorhiza. The question says that, so identify the part of the seed from the given figure which is destined to form root. Root is formed from radical. So radical is C. So hence option 2 is the right answer. So now last question of section A here. This is again a picture-based question, diagram-based question. So in the given figure, which component has thin outer walls and highly thickened inner wall? So we know that differentially thickened walls are present in the guard cells. So the labeling which is showing, that is showing guard cell is C. So hence option 4 is the right answer. Over to my colleague who will be discussing section B now. Thank you, students.
Hello, I'll be taking section B of biology. Okay, so the question is match the following, the list 1 and list 2. So GLUT4 is a transporter. GLUT4 is a transporter for glucose. So this will be matching with the option 4, enables glucose transport into the cell. So glucose will be transporting through the GLUT4 transporter. Coming to the next option, insulin. It is a hormone. We know it, the conversion of glucose or conversion of the glucose to the glycogen will be converting with the help of insulin hormone. It plays an important role in conversion of glucose to glycogen. Coming to trypsin, it is an enzyme. Collagen is an intracellular ground substance. Okay, so let's see which one is matching. A is 4, B is 1, C is 3, and D is, okay, yeah, A is matching with 4 here, B is matching with 1, and C is matching with 2, and D is matching with 3. So option 4 is correct. Coming to next question. So it's also match the following questions. Citric acid cycle. So students, where exactly citric acid cycle operates? Citric acid cycle operates in the mitochondria. Okay, so citric acid cycle, where is mitochondria and where exactly it operates? It operates in the mitochondrial matrix. Where glycolysis operates? It operates in the cytoplasm. Where electron transport chain system works? Okay, where it works? It works in the inner membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so this is the membrane where all the component of the electron transport systems are located. Coming to proton gradient is due to the hydrogen ions present in the intermembranous space of the mitochondria. So citric acid cycle is matching with 2. Okay, so where is 2? This one. D is matching with 1. C is matching with 4, and D is matching with 3. So option 1 is correct here. Okay. Next question, question number 138. Again, the match the following question. Okay. So here, Robert May, what he has done, let's see. Okay. So he has given global species diversity at about 7 million. He said that the global species is around 7 millions. Coming to Alexander, what he has done? Okay, he has given the species area relationship. If area is more, species number will gradually increase. Okay. Paul, what he has given? See, 4-1. The Ribert-Popper's hypothesis is given by Paul. Coming to David, he has given long-term ecosystem experiment using outdoor plots. So which option is matching here? Robert May is matching with 3, Alexander is matching with 1, C is matching with 4, and D is matching with 2. Option 1 is correct over here. Okay. Option 1. Moving to next question. Okay, question number 139. Let's see what is happening in question number 139. Spraying sugarcane crop with which of the following hormone increases the length of the stem, and thus it is increasing the productivity also. Okay, so there is one hormone which increases the internodal elongation, responsible for the internodal elongation. That hormone is gibberellic acid, gibberellins. Okay. Again, one more match the following question. Let's see. So Griffith, Frederick Griffith, what he has done? He has done the experiment of transformation. So A is matching with third one. Jacob and Manoj has given Lacoberon. Herwin Colonna has given the genetic code, and Messerson and Stahl has given the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So see how it is matching. A is matching with 3. There are two options. B is matching with 4. Okay, so there is only this option. C is matching with 1, and D is with 2. Okay, so option 1 is correct over here. Okay, coming to question number 141. Okay, 141. So, in an ecosystem, if the primary net primary productivity is around the first topic level is 100x into k CALM minus 2 and so on. Okay, what would be the GPP gross primary productivity of the third topic level of the same ecosystem? Okay, so as we have done in the ecosystem chapter, if we are moving from first tropic level to second and second to third, there will be transfer of only 10% of the productivity or energy also you can see. Okay. So as we are moving, so here do not write the whole calculation, leave it. Just remember this 100x. Okay, or just write the 100x. Okay. So when we will be moving from one tropic level to next, there will be transfer of only 10% of it. And when we are moving from second to third, there will be transfer of only 1. Okay, so all the equations remain same. So just to confuse you, they have given this much complicated equation. Otherwise, the answer will be 1. So it will be from conversion from 100 to 1. So there will be loss of 10 all the time, and it will be leading to loss of 100% of it. So it will be here instead of 100, there will be only 1x. So first option is correct. Next question. Identify the step in the tricarboxylic acid cycle, which is TCA cycle, which doesn't involve oxidation of substrate. Okay. So if we go to the cyclic process, whole cyclic process, all except the second one, succinyl CoA to succinic acid, is not involved in the oxidation process. Fine. Okay. Next question. Which of the following are fused in somatic hybridization involved two varieties of plants? Okay, so here they are showing if two cells of two different varieties of plants, if they will fuse, what we will be calling it. Okay. So when two cells will be fusing, there will be fusion of all the content within the cell. So within the cell we have nucleus, within the cell we have all the cell organelles, including nucleus and protoplast and everything within the cell. So when everything within the cell fuses to form again a single cell, it is called the fusion of the protoplast of the cell. Question number 144. So there are a lot of match the following questions. Okay, 144. So here, let's see, monoadelphous. Monoadelphous is there will be stamens in which filaments will be fused. All the filaments will be fused together, but their anthers are not fused, and this kind of condition is found in China rose. Diadelphous condition in which there will be fusion in the two groups. So here there is one single bunch in the case of monoadelphous. Here there are two bunches, polyadelphous. In polyadelphous there will be multiple bunches, and in epiadelphous condition there will be these stamens will be connected to the perianth. Okay, so here A is matching with fourth one, which is China rose. Diadelphous is following with China rose, and diadelphous will be following with P. Okay, so direct combination. Polyadelphous is citrus, and epiadelphous is lily. So which one of the following is correct? 4, second, 1 and 3. Right. So fourth option is correct over here. Okay. Next question is, read the following statement and choose the set of the correct statement. Okay. So we'll be reading all one by one and see which one is correct. Okay. Asexual reproduction occurs usually by flagellated zoospores, and this statement is about Phaeophyceae, which is brown algae. Okay. So first statement is correct. Sex reproduction occurs with the help of oogamous method. No, it will be with the help of oogamous, isogamous, and anisogamous. Three of them are there. So this statement will not be there. Stored food is in the form of mannitol and laminarin. That is true. The major pigment found are chlorophyll A and C, carotenoids and xanthophyll. This is also right. Vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall, and it is also having gelatinous covering around it, which is called algin. So all the statement except the second statement, it is incorrect. So let's see which one is it. So if you see, this is also having B, this is also having B, this is also having B. So it will be the second option. Okay. Question number 146. Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding the process of replication? So replication is what? Formation of a new DNA by using the previous DNA by using various enzymes. Okay, so let's see. The DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Okay, so when we are doing the replication, there will be no RNA polymerase, it will be always DNA polymerase. So this statement is also incorrect. From here only we can see this statement is incorrect because we need DNA polymerase instead of RNA polymerase. The DNA dependent DNA polymerase catalyze polymerization in 3 to 5 to 3 dash and 3 to 5 dash. This is also incorrect because whenever replication happens, it is always from 5 dash to 3 dash. Opposite will not be there. Okay, this statement is also incorrect. The DNA dependent DNA polymerase catalyzes polymerization. So just now I said it is only polymerizing from 5 dash to 3 dash. This statement is correct. The DNA dependent DNA polymerase catalyzes polymerization in one direction, that is 3 to 5. So it is not 3 to 5, it is 5 to 3. So third statement is correct, others are incorrect. Okay. Question number 147. This is one of the easiest question. The DNA present in the chloroplast is what kind of DNA? Okay. So in chloroplast, always DNA is circular and it is double stranded. Okay, this kind of DNA is present in case of chloroplast, in case of mitochondria, in case of eukaryote, all the DNA are circular, double stranded. There is no single stranded, there is no linear or something like that. Okay. Next question is 148. Okay. Identify the correct description about the given figure. Okay, so if you see, this figure is taken from NCERT only, and this figure is for wind pollination. So this figure is given under wind pollination. So we'll see which of the following is filling or giving any idea about wind pollination. So see here, water pollination. Simply they have given flower which shows stamens which mucilaginous covering, not. Because this is wind pollinated plant. So this is also first one is incorrect. Second is cryptogamous flower. No cryptogamous flowers are there. Okay. Impact inflorescence showing complete autogamy. Okay, so here also this is not happening. Fourth one is coming to our point, wind pollination or wind pollinated plants showing inflorescence, showing flowers with well exposed stamens. So same statement is written in NCERT along with this diagram. Okay, so fourth option is correct. Okay, coming to next question. Given below statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1 is in case of C3 plants, some oxygen binds to rubisco, hence CO2 fixation is decreased. Okay, so rubisco has the ability to bind CO2 as well as oxygen. So whenever there is a which compensation or which is more in content, that depends. But this statement is true. It can bind to the oxygen also, as well as it can bind to CO2. So first statement is correct. Coming to next statement, C4 plant mesophyll cells show very little photorespiration. So photorespiration is when rubisco is binding to oxygen, while bundle sheath cells do not show photorespiration. Okay. So in C4 plants, rubisco is present only in the bundle sheath cells. Okay. So obviously respiration will not be happening in the mesophyll cells. So first statement is correct, but second statement is wrong. So statement 1 is true, statement 2, second is false, option 2. Okay. The final, like B part have this final question. Match the following. There are a lot of match the followings. List 1 and list 2, you have to match. Rose. First of all, you can see other options also. Mango is a fruit. Cotton is a showing twisted estimation. Pea is having marginal presentation, and rose is showing perigynous flower. So which one is right? A is 2, B is 4, C is first one, and D is 3. Okay, so fourth option is correct. So this was about botany. Rest of the part will be taken by one of more faculty. Let's do it. Thank you.
Yes, students, very well. A warm welcome. So I hope your exam has gone really well. So now we will be discussing about the zoology portion of the paper. All right. So let's quickly begin with our questions today. So let's see the question 1, right? 151. 3 types of muscles are given as A, B, and C. Identify the correct matching pair along with their location in the human body. So if you see in this particular question, 3 figures are given. The first figure, you can see stripes on it, right? Multinucleated condition without any branching. So these kind of muscles are nothing but the stripe muscles or skeletal muscles attached to your bones. Next, moving on to these muscles. Look at the shape. Shape is spindle shape, right? Without any striations. So it's going to be the smooth muscles. Lastly, moving on to the third type of muscles with branches and striped. So this is going to be the cardiac muscles. So since this is skeletal, obviously it should be attached to the bones, right? Either it would be a bicep, tricep, or any other muscle attached to your bones. Same way, smooth muscles, if you talk about, smooth muscles are generally present in the visceral organs of your body. Involuntary they are. And lastly, moving on to the third type, that is cardiac muscles. The term cardiac itself means heart. So where will you find it? Skeletal triceps, correct. Smooth stomach, definitely correct. And cardiac is heart, definitely correct. So your first option itself is the right option for this. Okay? Sure. Let's move to the next question. Right. So following are the stages of pathway for conduction of an action potential through the heart. So when we see the heart conduction pathway, it starts with, let's say this is the heart, right? So the first tissue is the SA node present in the top right corner. Then we have the AV node, and then we have the AV bundle which branches out, and finally you get the Purkinje fibers. Correct? So when the conduction begins, it starts with SA node. So first you will have SA node, so E. Then it moves to AV node. So this is going to be the second one, that would be C. Then from there it will enter into the AV bundle present in the junction between the two ventricles. Correct? So next would be A. Right? Then would be the bundle branches. And lastly, the small fibers spreading all over the walls of your heart, that would be your Purkinje fibers. So ECADB. So option 4 would be the right one. Okay? Right. So next, moving on to yes. Which one of the following factors will not affect Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium?
So we know what Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium means, correct? What does Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium mean? Whenever there is a state of constancy in any population, that will be with respect to Hardy-Weinberg. What all things will affect it? Whenever organisms start to move from one place to another. Then whenever there is, that is migration, whenever there is sudden decline in the population, you will have a disturbance in the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Whenever there is genetic recombination, there will be a disturbance in the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Equilibrium itself means constancy, a state of balance. So out of all the four options, the only thing which is not going to affect the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium would be constant gene pool. If it is a constant gene pool, it will always stay in the state of Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, right? So that would be option 3. Right? So next we will move on to question number 154. Which of the following statements is incorrect? So whenever such kind of questions come, we have told you always underline the codes. Incorrect. Most commonly used bioreactors are of stirring type. Yes, because the most common type of bioreactors are stirred type bioreactors. So this is a correct statement. Bioreactors are used to produce small scale bacterial cultures. Is this a right statement? Definitely not. Why? Because we know if you're producing it in a small scale, you will do it in a laboratory by either using a small flask or else maybe a petri dish or maybe a test tube. But when you are going for a larger scale, then you will have to shift to the fermentation tanks, biofermenters or bioreactors. Correct? So bioreactors are used to produce small scale bacterial cultures is definitely a wrong statement because we use bioreactors specifically for large scale production. Large scale production, right? So incorrect statement would be option 2. The other two options definitely is right. They have an agitator system to mix things easily, oxygen delivery system for giving aeration, right? So this is a correct statement. Next, optimal conditions are required so that bacterial growth can be seen in a large quantity. So this is also a right statement. Next, moving on to question number 155. Which one is the correct product of the DNA dependent RNA polymerase to the given template? So we are talking about which kind of situation here? We are talking about DNA dependent RNA polymerase. That means we are trying to synthesize an RNA strand. Whenever we are synthesizing an RNA strand, the first thing that should strike is RNA. It will not have thymine. It should be replaced by uracil. So if whichever option is having thymine, you can eliminate that option first. Then here the sequence is 3' to 5'. So definitely the product would be from 5' to 3'. All the options are in that regard. So we cannot eliminate anymore. Now we will have to jump to the options. So first is T. Whenever we see T, the complementary to that is going to be A. All of them have A. So we have to go with the next one. Then we had TAC. So AUG, APG, that is already gone. So these three are fine. Then ATGG. So next one, UAGG and AA. So definitely this is also wrong. With this GG, what has to be there? CC needs to be there. Okay. So here also we have CC. Here also we have CC. Then this C and this G we wait. AUG. AB. Right. So here we have on the 5th position, 6th position C, and here also in the 6th position we have C. Then we will move on to the next set. Here there is AAA, while here there is GUU. Right. So which one is the wrong option here? This one is the wrong option. So you will go for the option 4. Right. Next, moving on to question number 156. Yes. So match list 1 with list 2. Alpha 1 antitrypsin. We know this is used specifically for treating emphysema. Okay. This particular compound or this particular drug is used to treat emphysema. So A is going to be 3. Right. So first of all, we will find the correct option with respect to A and 3. So this and this one. Then we have B, cry 1 AB, C B, C B. That is how we are supposed to remember it. So B is going to be option 4. Then cry 1 AC. This particular gene will be preventing cotton bollworm. So this will be matching with 1. And finally, enzyme replacement therapy, that would be ADA deficiency, right? So here A is going to go with 3. So either this or this. And then finally, D is going with 2. So your option should be option 2. Yes. Any doubts so far? So let's quickly move on to the next one. Yes. Which of the following are autoimmune disorders? Okay. Which of the following are autoimmune disorders? So when we talk about autoimmune disorders, whenever we are talking about autoimmune disorders, we have to remember that this is a particular condition where your body is trying to attack your own cells. Correct? So here if you see, myasthenia gravis, definitely an example of autoimmunity. Rheumatoid arthritis definitely is. Gout is not, because gout happens when there is accumulation of uric acid in the joints, right? So gout is not. Muscular dystrophy, no. Why? Because it is a genetic condition, not an autoimmune condition. Lastly, moving on to systemic lupus erythematosus. This again is an example of autoimmune disorder. So your correct option is going to be A, B, and E. So that would be option 1. Okay, A, B, and E. Right. So next, we'll move on to the question 158. Yes.
Guys, 158 is the botany section question from the principles of inheritance. It is talking about the chromosomal disorders. So here they have given Down syndrome. So Down syndrome is trisomy 21. Okay, so trisomy 21, that is deletion of the chromosome in the 21st chromosome. So 21st autosomes. So hence that is A3. Alpha thalassemia, there are that is a blood disease, again autosomal recessive blood disease, where the globin chains, deficiency of the globin chain is, globin chain is affected. So these globin chain with respect to alpha thalassemia are HbA1, HbA2, they are present on the 16th chromosome. Okay. So and HBB globin chain, when it is affected, that is present on the 11th chromosome, and that is beta thalassemia. And Klinefelter syndrome, there is karyotype will be 47XXY. So therefore, this is Klinefelter syndrome is this one. So A4, A3, B4, option 2 is correct. So answer is option 2, over to 1.
Right. So done with this question as well. Now swiftly we will move on to next question. That would be 159. Okay. So given below are two statements. In the nephron, the descending limb. Now please be careful here. The descending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water. Is this a right statement? No. So whenever we talk about the descending limb, we call it as the concentrating limb. There's only one main reason for it. What is the reason? Because the descending limb is mainly responsible for reabsorption of water. And if it is impermeable to water, it can never take that water, right? So definitely this is a wrong statement. Next, the proximal convoluted tubule is lined by simple columnar brush border. Simple columnar brush border. Is it a columnar? Already the tubule is very thin. If you keep columnar cells over there, the tubule will not be able to pass the urine properly. So that is the reason we need cuboidal first of all. And that too because proximal has to absorb a lot of nutrients, important glucose and ions back, water back. It has to be very, very efficient. And for that efficiency, what will you use? You will use brush bordered cuboidal epithelium, not simple columnar epithelium, right? So here both the statements are wrong. So we will go with option 1, right? Both statement 1 and statement 2 here are false, correct? Moving on to the next question. 160. It's a match the following question. Match list 1 with list 2. Okay. So if you see over here, pons. We know pons varoli, mainly it is associated with the respiration part. It is a part of your nervous system. And other than controlling the rate at which breathing can happen, it will also connect two or three organs in your, two or three parts in your brain, right? So if you see connects different regions of the brain would be an appropriate one. So A would be 3, then hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the major connecting link between your neural system as well as chemical system, correct? So it is going to have certain cells, we call them as neurosecretory cells. Function of those neurosecretory cells is to release certain hormones which will control the rest of the glands of your body. So B is going to be the neurosecretory cells, which would be 4. Next, moving on to medulla. We know all the main activities, involuntary main activities such as cardiovascular activities, gastric secretion, breathing, vomiting reflex, swallowing, all these coughing is all controlled by whom? By medulla oblongata. Correct? So C is going to be 2. And lastly, cerebellum. This is going to provide additional space for neurons. We see a lot of convolutions here, and it is mainly responsible for controlling the posture and the balance of your body, which usually gets affected when a person is having alcohol intoxication. Correct? So D is going to be 1. So 3, 4, 2, 1, and your option is going to be 1 all over again. Correct? Chalo. Next, moving on. 161. Match the column 1 with column 2 all over again. Chalo, a lot of match the following questions here. Let's see. Yes. So when we talk about axoneme, okay, axoneme, when we say, it is seen in cilia and flagella. Correct? Axoneme is a structure which you will find in cilia and flagella. So A should be 2. Next, cartwheel pattern. Cartwheel pattern is unique to the centriole. So this is going to be 1. Right? Cristae. Cristae is a structure which you will find in which organelle? In the mitochondria. So it's going to be 4. And satellite as a part of chromosomes, it's going to be 3. So 2, 1, 4, 3. Your answer is going to be option 3. Okay? Let's move on. Yes. Again, one more match the following question. List 1 with list 2. Now this is about joints, locomotion and movement chapter. Very important. Let's see the options here. So fibrous joints. Fibrous joints means a lot of fibers are going to be there. And whenever we have fibers, it means it is going to give you strength. It will not allow things to move very easily, right? Flexibility won't be there. So anything which will not allow movement, wherever movement is not required, like between the bones of your skull. So if the bones of your skull starts to move, will it be stable? Will your cranium be stable? No. So definitely it is required wherever movement should not be there, right? So A would be 3. Okay, A3. There's only one option where you can see A3. So definitely your option should be option 3, but still we will look on to the next ones. Okay. So when we see ball and socket, this is easy to find out. Ball and socket, obviously you will have in your shoulder as well as in your hip region, correct? So ball and socket joint would be humerus and pectoral girdle. So D should be 2. Where both the options are matching. So definitely your option is going to be option 3. Okay, this kind of ways will save your time. Next, moving on to question number 163. Now this is from Animal Kingdom, complete theory based question, memory based. So if you see pterophyllum, pterophyllum is the scientific name of which organism? It is the scientific name of angelfish, correct? Then we have mixin. Mixin is the scientific name of which organism? Mixin is the scientific name of hatfish. So B is going to be 1, right? So A3, B1. So we have only one option which is going with this kind of situation. Next, coming to Pristis. Pristis is also known as sawfish. It's having a snout with a very sharp ridges on it. It appears like a saw. So sawfish. Exocetus, we already know it's a flying fish, like pie or seen, right? So the correct option for this would be option 1. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Yes, again a botany question. So ma'am will be taking.
Again, this is a botany question. This is from the cell cycle. So What is that given here? They have given the stages of cell division. So in these stages of cell division, choose a correct sequence. So first you need to sequence it. So first is G1 gap 1 phase, so that is E. Second is synthetic phase, S phase, that is C. Third is gap 2, that is A. And then comes karyokinesis. So prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase happens there. And then it is cytokinesis B. So E C A B D. E C A D B. Okay, E C A D B is option 3. Is that clear? Okay. Now again zoology.
Right. So next we will move on to the next question, 165. So again match the following chapter reproductive health. So if you see non-medicated IUD, non-medicated IUD. So when we talk about non-medicated IUD, that means it is not having any compound associated. It is a very inert IUD, right? So the best example for that would be Lippes loop, right? Then copper releasing IUD. Copper releasing IUD, when we see, you will find it in multi-load 375. Copper T, multi-load 375. These are the excellent examples of copper releasing IUD. Then we have hormone releasing IUD. Any IUD which is releasing hormones will be considered under hormone releasing IUD, and the perfect example for B would be LNG20. LNG, which stands for levonorgestrel. It's a hormone which is released into the female body and prevents conceiving. So that would be LNG20. Next we have implants. Implants example will be, mostly implants will be having progestogens, right? So here the correct answer would be A3 and B1. Then we have hormone releasing IUD to C4, right? So the correct option should be option 3, right? So let's move on to the next question. So match the list 1 with list 2. Okay, match the enzymes with the kind of bonds that they are breaking, biomolecules, correct? So if you see here, first question, the first point, lipase. From the name itself, it's very clear. It is going to digest the lipids. And we know the kind of bonds you find in lipids would be the ester bond. So A is 2. There is only one option here as well. So automatically your answer is going to be option 2. But still we will just justify the others as well. Nuclease. It is going to digest nucleic acids. Nucleic acids will be having phosphodiester bond. So B4. Matching? Right. Then protease. Peptide bonds, very clear. In proteins, we have peptide bonds that can be broken down with the enzyme called protease, right? So here, option 2. Yes? Next. Moving on to the next question. 167. Match list 1 with list 2. Okay? Very, very important question with respect to which topic? Yes, this is coming from the topic respiratory conditions, mainly from your total lung capacities and lung volumes and capacities, right? So let's see expiratory capacity. So when we talk about expiratory capacity, this is your tidal volume. Below this you have expiratory reserve volume, and above this we have inspiratory reserve volume, correct? And the one which is left over in your lungs is your RV. So when we combine these, then we get what? We get our capacities, correct? So let's say we are combining TB and ERV, then we get expiratory capacity, which is your first question. So expiratory capacity is TB plus ERV. So option 2. Next, functional residual capacity. When you calculate or when you sum up the ERV and RV, with the one which is normally staying in your lungs when you're going for normal breathing, that would be your FRC. Okay, so ERV plus residual volume would be for functional residual capacity. Then moving on to vital capacity. Vital capacity will include 3 main components. Which 3? IRV, TB as well as ERV. Okay, so this is going to be option 1. And lastly, we have inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity would be tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Correct? So if you see the correct option here, A would be 2, B would be 4. A would be 2, B would be 4. So option number 4. Am I clear? Any doubts so far? Right. So done with this. Moving on to the next question. Match list 1 with list 2. Topic, which chapter are we discussing this from? This is from Human Health and Diseases, subtopic drugs. Okay, so let's see the first one. Talking about cocaine. Cocaine is obtained from which source? Cocaine is obtained from the plant called erythroxylum. Okay, it is obtained from erythroxylum. Then we have heroin. What is heroin? Okay, so when we have a drug called morphine, this morphine is obtained from the organism Papaver somniferum. So when you are acetylating this one, then you get heroin. Correct? So the source of heroin also would be Papaver somniferum only. Am I right? So heroin also comes from Papaver somniferum. Okay, next, morphine. When we talk about morphine, it is a very potent sedative, right? What is morphine? It's a very potent sedative. So whenever a person undergoes any surgery, during that time, it is a very good analgesic, to be honest. So being an analgesic, it will reduce the pain. It's an efficient painkiller. Okay, so morphine would be 1, and marijuana, which is obtained from cannabis sativa, right? So your correct option is going to be C3B4, right? C3B4. There's only one option with respect. Sorry, A3B4. So there's only one option with respect to that, and that would be option 3, right? Let's move on with the next one. So 169 from evolution, right? So flippers of penguins and dolphins. So we know in case of penguins also, flippers are responsible for swimming in the water. Dolphins also, flippers are going to help in swimming. But if you see penguins, they come from a different origin. Penguins belong to apes, while dolphins are aquatic mammals. So definitely both the organisms do not belong to the same source. Their origin is not the same, right? So when the origin is not the same, but they start showing a common function, this kind of evolution is called as convergent evolution. And the type of organs that they are going to be analogous organs. Since analogous organs is not there in the option, the only appropriate option would be convergent evolution. Okay. Right. Moving on to 170, assertion reasoning. Okay, the most tricky ones. So let's see how it goes. So 170, given below are two statements. One is labeled as A and the other one as R. So let's see what A says. A says that breastfeeding during the initial period of the infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing a healthy baby. Definitely yes, because what is the reason? Because during the initial few days after the baby is born, the mother's milk, which is called as colostrum, it's a very thick yellow color secretion which is very rich with nutrients. Mainly it is rich with antibodies. Since it is so rich with antibodies, automatically it is very much required for the newly born babies or neonates, correct? So A is right, R is definitely right, and this is a perfect example for A. Okay, it is going to give a lot of immunity to the baby. Till now the baby was in the mother's womb. Now it's out, it has to face the harsh conditions of the environment, correct? So for that, this colostrum is going to be really helpful. Okay, so both A and R are right, and R is the correct explanation of A. So be very careful. It is the option 4. Okay, next. Moving on to question 171. Which of the following is not a component of fallopian tube? So when we see the structure of fallopian tube, it starts with the infundibulum. Infundibulum continues as ampulla. And finally, the junction between the fallopian tube and uterus, that would be the stalk-like isthmus. So the one which is not belonging to fallopian tube, a very easy answer. It is obviously going to be uterine fundus. It's a part of uterus, of course, right? So option 4. Moving on to 172. Okay, so 172, match the following. If you see Typhoid. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. It's a bacteria. So A is going to be 4. Okay, A is going to be 4. There's only one option with respect to that, but still we'll check out the other options as well. B. Leishmaniasis is caused by an organism called Leishmania donovan. It's a protozoa. Okay, so B is again 3. Then moving on to ringworm. Ringworm, it is not a worm, it is a disease, okay, which is usually caused by several fungal species. So it's a fungal disease. So C is going to be 1. And finally we have filariasis, okay, also called as elephantiasis. It is caused by a nematode. We call our nematode as Bucraria bancrofti. So 4, 3, 1, 2. The correct option is option 1. So it's justified. Right? Next, moving on to 173. Yes, another match the following. List 1 and list 2. Let's see the questions. So, common cold. We know common cold, very commonly seen condition, and it is due to a viral infection, that is rhinovirus. Hemozoin, a granule released by which pathogen when it is inside your body? Hemozoin is released by a pathogen called Plasmodium. So when Plasmodium starts infecting the RBCs, inside the RBCs it will start releasing some granules, and these granules when released out will act as a very potent antigen and it will trigger the immune system, causing the fever, right? So hemozoin, Plasmodium. Then Vidal test. Vidal test is the confirmatory test for which condition, which disease? Typhoid. So Vidal test is typhoid. And lastly, we have allergies. Allergies are caused due to the dust mites, right? So if you see the right option, it should be 3, 1, 2, 4. So 3, 1, 2, 4. There is just one option which would be right, and that would be option 2. Right. Next, moving on to question number 174. Given below are the few stages of human evolution. Arrange it in correct sequence, past to recent. So there's a very good mnemonic to remember this. I hope you're aware of it, and that would be hence. Okay? So hence, H here stands for habilis, E here stands for sapiens, N here stands for Neanderthals, and S stands for, E here stands for erectus, and S here stands for sapiens, right? So the sequence should be, first would be A, then you would be having D, and finally you will be having C, and then B. So A, D, C, B. Option 3 would be the most appropriate option for the same. Moving on to the next question, 175, which is an assertion reason question. So if you see FSH when we talk about, is a very easy way to remember this. Okay, so when we talk about FSH, in females, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is going to act on the ovarian follicles, that is going to release the hormone estrogen. Okay, so in females, this is what is going to happen. Same way in males, FSH, S is there. So this is going to act on another S, that is Sertoli cells. And Sertoli cells' main function is it helps in nourishment as well as spermiogenesis. So for now, we will see what is the question given. FSH acts on ovarian follicles in female, absolutely right. And Leydig cells in male, no, it acts on which cells? Sertoli cells. So this is incorrect. Growing ovarian follicles secrete estrogen in female, again a right statement, while interstitial cells, also called as Leydig cells, secrete androgen in male. The androgen, one type of androgen is testosterone. So this is a right statement. Okay, so A here is wrong or incorrect, while R is right. So A is false, R is true, option 3 would be the appropriate one. Right? Moving on to 176. So when we talk about 176, which of the following is not a steroid hormone? Which of the following is not having a steroid component? So usually the hormones such as cortisol, all the sex hormones would be the perfect examples of your steroid hormones. So if you see here, testosterone, definitely a right option. Progesterone, yes, definitely a right option. Cortisol is a right option. The one example which is wrong here, or option which is wrong here, would be glucagon because it is a peptide hormone. Okay, so 3 is the odd one among the following. Next, moving on to 177. Consider the following statements again with respect to animal kingdom. Annelids are true coelomates. So we know, yes, annelids, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata, along with Hemichordata, they all come under eucoelomates. So this is the correct statement. Poriferans are pseudocoelomates. Porifera is a very primitive organism. It is just a cell aggregate. Okay, it won't have mesoderm, and until and unless any organism is having mesoderm, you cannot call it as a coelom in the first place. So this is the wrong statement. Next, Ascalminthus are acoelomates. No, Ascalminthus does have a coelom, but it is not a true coelom. It is a false coelom or pseudocoelom, right? So this is again incorrect. Lastly, moving on to Platyhelminthes are pseudocoelomates. Again incorrect. Okay, so here only one option is right. That will be option 1. Next, moving on to the next question, again a botany question. So I would request ma'am to take over.
Yes, this is again from the cell cycle. So here it says that the prophase 1 has leptotene, zygotene, pachytene, diplotene, and diakinesis. So leptotene is the stage. The question had come in 133. So where the chromosomes are not visible, so the statement is false, but they are thin and beaded appearance takes place. So leptotene is the chromosome look like thin threads. Okay, so D3. So leptotene, zygotene is the stage where pairing up takes place, and pairing up is due to the synaptonemal complex and 1. So B, pachytene is the place where the recombination begins due to the recombination nodules, and appearance of recombination nodule happens. So that is 4. And diakinesis, diplotene is not given. Diakinesis is the final stage of prophase 1 where terminalization takes place. So hence terminalization of the chiasmata is in 2. So option 2 is the right answer.
Right. So moving on to the next question swiftly. Yes. So which of the following factors are favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin? So for oxyhemoglobin formation, high PO2 level is required and lesser H plus concentration is required. Okay, so this would be the correct option. The main requirements should be high PO2, less PCO2, lesser H plus, as well as less temperature. Okay, any of these factors would help in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Moving on to the next question. Question number 180. Finally, we have a question from cockroach here. So let's see. In both sexes of cockroach, a pair of jointed filamentous structure called anal cerci is present on which segment? So we know anal cerci is present in both male and female cockroach, and it is seen in which segment? 10th segment of their abdomen, right? So answer would be option 1. Okay, moving on to the next question here. That is again another match the following. Okay, so if you see here again animal kingdom, pleurobrachia, if you see it is a ctenophora, so A is 2. Then radula, a rasping structure which you will find in molluscan body, so B is 1. Stomachord, when we see, stomachord is a structure which you will find in hemichordata. And lastly, air bladder that allows them to float, bony fishes or osteichthyes. So A2, B1. So A2, B1, C4 and D3, option number 1. Okay. Next, moving on to TI plasmid. Biotechnology. TI plasmid of Agrobacterium tumeficans stands for TI, tumor-inducing plasmid. So this is the same plasmid which is modified in order to go ahead with the biotechnology experiments, right? So tumor-inducing plasmids is the right term for it. So it would be option 2. Okay. Next, moving on to 183. Again, 2 statements. Be careful while you are answering these questions. So presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity. Definitely a right option. Yes, hymen is found during the first coitus only. Again, an absolutely wrong statement. There are 2 contradictory statements, right? So here, statement 1 is correct and the statement 2 is false. So your answer is going to be option 2. Clear? Moving on to 184. So when you see 184, so this is a plasmid. We know this is PBr 322. So if you remember the structure well, so you will know that X is the site where origin of replication is there or OEC is there. Same way, if you talk about Y is the location where replication of plasmid is seen, ROP, right? So based on that, we'll check out the option first. Gene X is responsible for controlling the copy number. Definitely yes. Why? Because if you see O or EC, this is mainly responsible for the replication of the plasmid. So automatically it is going to control the copy number. While the ROP, replication of plasmid, so it is going to code for that important protein which will help in the formation of or which helps in the formation of more plasmids, right? So definitely one is the correct option. Moving on to 185. Which of the following is not a natural or traditional contraceptive method? So if you see here, periodic abstinence, lactational amenorrhea, and coitus interruptus. These are all natural methods. Okay, while waltz, if you see, it is a physical method of contraception along with diaphragm and condoms. So 3 would be the incorrect one, the odd one here. Okay, so with this we complete section A. Now I hand over to ma'am with section B.
So the question 186, the first option, exophthalmic goiter, it's related with thyroid gland. And if there is an oversecretion of thyroid hormone, it will lead to exophthalmic goiter. Okay, so the option will be A, 3. Then acromegaly, it is related with the growth hormone. If there is an excessive secretion of growth hormone, it will lead to acromegaly. So the option will be 4, B4, A3. Then Cushing syndrome, it is excessive secretion of cortisol, moon phase, and it will lead to hyperglycemia. It is related with the corticoids. If there is a excessive secretion of corticoid hormone, it will lead to the Cushing syndromes. So C1. And cretinism, it is related with the hypothyroidism. So during the pregnancy, if the mother has hypothyroidism, the baby which will born will have low IQ, stunted growth, and mentally retarded. So the D will be option 2. So according to this, A3, B4, and C1. So option 3. Next question. Now the next question is from human reproduction. The GnRH hormone, which is secreted by hypothalamus, and they LH and FSH, they will act released from the anterior pituitary. So the option A will be FSH, and FSH will act on which cell? Sertoli or Leydig cells. FSH will act on Sertoli cell. Okay, and LH will act on which cell? It will be Leydig cell. So according to this, either 2 or 4. Okay, but FSH will help in spermatogenesis or spermiogenesis. It will be spermiogenesis. So option 4. Now the next question. Next question, question number 188. Mitochondria and chloroplast are both double membrane bound organelles. This is the correct statement. Next statement is inner membrane of mitochondria are relatively less permeable as compared to chloroplast. Yes, it is. So both options, statement 1 and 2 are correct. So we will go with the option 4. Next question, 189. This question came from organism and its population. So the statement 1, Gauss competitive exclusion principle states that two closely related species competing for different resources. It will not be different, it will be same resources. Next, statement 2, according to Gauss principle during competition, the inferior will be eliminated. this may be eliminated. So this is correct. Okay, so statement 1 is wrong, but statement 2 is correct. So we will go with the option 2. Not option 2. Option 2 is the statement 1 is wrong. So we will go with the option 3. Next question is 190, and this question came from the biomolecules chapter. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. So the first option, the first statement will be substrate binding to the active site. Yes, first substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme. Then what will happen? Substrate enzyme complex formation happened. This is the step 2. This was the step 3. This was the step 1. This was the step 2. Then chemical bonds of the substrate broken. Correct. This is the statement 3. Then free enzyme ready to bind with the. Then the product will be released. So this will be the 4, and this will be the 5. So according to this, E, A, D, C, B. So the option B will go with the option 4. Now the next question. Yeah. Now the question number 191, it came from the body fluid circulation chapter. So the P wave, generally P wave represents depolarization of the atria. QRS complex represents the depolarization of ventricles, and then T wave represents the repolarization of the all ventricles. So P wave, A will be depolarization of atria, QRS depolarization of the ventricles, T will be repolarization of ventricles, and TP will be the heart muscles are electrically silenced. So we will go with A3, B2, option 1. Now the next question.
Yeah, this question is from genetics, that is molecular basis of inheritance. So they have given here polymerase 3. So in eukaryotes, you know that there are 3 polymerases, and this is polymerase 3, which is responsible for the formation of smaller nuclear RNAs and tRNA. Option A is 4. So let us see, A is 4 only in this, but still let us find out rest of them. Termination of transcription. Termination when the transcription unit, so when the RNA polymerase comes to the rho factor, then the termination takes place. So that is rho factor B3. Okay, so B3, and splicing of exons. You know that heteronuclear, that is introns and exons. So how is it? Splicing has to be required, and splicing is done by smaller nuclear ribonucleoproteins, SNRs. They're also called as, and Tata box. Tata box is in the upstream of the promoter. So it's a sequence 10 nucleotides upstream of the promoter. Tata box in eukaryotes and Pribnow box in prokaryotes. So that is this. So hence option 3 is the right answer.
Now 193. So the 193 given below are the 2 statements. Statement 1, the cerebral hemispheres are connected by nerve tract known as corpus callosum. It's correct. Then statement 2, the brainstem consists of the medulla oblongata, pons and cerebellum. No, it will be cerebellum. So statement 2 will be false. Statement 2 is false. Statement 1 is correct. So we will go with option 2. Now the next question. Next question, 1 minute. Next question 194, and this question came from the topic cockroach. Option A, the structure used for storing food. In cockroach, it will be crop. A4. Option 2 or option 4 can be the answer. Then ring of 6, 8 blind tubules at the junctions of foregut and midgut, it will be gastric ceca. Then option C, the ring of 100, 150 colored thin filaments at the junction of midgut and hindgut, it will be Malpighian tubule. And the D will be the structure used for grinding the food is gizzard. So we will go with D1, B2, and C4. So option 3. Option 3 is the correct answer. Okay. Next 195. Just a second. 195. The Mesozoic area, Protozoic area, Cenozoic area, and Paleozoic area. This came from the chapter Evolution. The Proterozoic area, lower invertebrates. Cenozoic area, mammals. And Mesozoic area, birds and reptiles. And Paleozoic area, it will be for fish and amphibia. So D2, correct. C4, correct. B1 and A3. Option 3 is the right answer. Now, the next question, 196. Given below are the two statements. Statement 1 states that bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all blood cells including lymphocytes are produced. Correct. Statement 2, both bone marrow and thymus provide microenvironment for the development of and maturation of T lymphocyte. It is also correct. So both statement 1 and 2 is correct. We will go with the option 4. Option 4 is the correct answer. Now next. Next is 197 from the animal tissue. The first option A, unicellular glandular epithelium. It will be goblet cells because they are their function is to secrete. Okay, glandular. Then compound epithelium will be moist surface of the buccal cavity. Okay, B4. B will be 4. A will be 3. Multicellular glandular secretion will be done by salivary glands, C1, and endocrine will be pancreas. Okay, so D2, C1. Okay, so we'll go with the option 2. Now the next question is, choose the correct statement given below. The radial corpuscles of juxtamedullary nephron lies in the outer portion of the renal medulla. False. Then loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephron runs deep into the medulla. This is the correct statement. So we will go with the option 2. Second last question. Second last question from genetics. Okay. So as per ABO blood grouping system, the blood group of father is B and mother is A and the child is O. So the respective genotype of the father, mother and child can be, suppose father can have the blood group IB, IO, and mother will have the blood group IA and IO. So when the offspring can be IBIO, IO, IA, IO, and IAI. So 4 chances are there. So we will go with the option IAI, option B, not option B, sorry, option A. So this is the only correct answer, option. The last question from the animal kingdom. Pharynx is perforated by gill slits? No. Notochord is absent? Correct. Central nervous system is dorsal? Correct. Heart is dorsal if present? And this is Incorrect. Post-anal tail is absent. This is correct. Okay, so it will be B, D, and E. We'll go with the option 2.
So, hello guys, this is Tushar, and I hope the NEET exam was really well for all of you. So, we discussed the questions which were asked today in NEET exam. Hopefully, they were useful for you. So, the discussions was useful, and you would have matched your answer key. So, if even if let's say your exam is, our wishes is that all of you would have done it really, really well. But just in case there was something which you could not do or you could not achieve as per your expectations, do not worry. You have multiple chances again, and we hope that even if let's say you could not do well this time, there is always a next time. So time now to relax. You had put in a lot of efforts since last 2 years, and all these while you were busy with your exam and could not do any enjoyment. Time now for you to rejoice, enjoy, have fun till your you have next 1 month for till your exam results come out. So hence enjoy your next month, and and at the same time do not really worry about what are the final repercussions are going to be for your this paper. So we had tried our level best to make sure that the accuracy of all the questions discussed here are to the maximum perfectness. But just in case if there are something here and there, we'll be publishing our clarification of all the questions which we have discussed. We will be also publishing our answer keys. You will find them in the description as well as on our website. So please log into our website centumacademy.com for all other discussions on the same paper. And with those words, I would also like to introduce my team who put in really a great show to come out with a answer solutions or question solutions in a very, very small amount of time. So that paper was over by 5:30, and then within half an hour time, the team got together and solved the questions for you. So I appreciate all the hard work by my team members as well. So hence, in following that line, I would invite my colleagues who had presented this solution to all of you. So one by one, maybe Vatsala ma'am, our HOD biology. So ma'am, introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I have the experience. I'm Vatsala. So I have the experience of 15 plus years. So thank you.
All the best.
All the best, and enjoy your day.
Okay, so next is Tracy, our another biology member, senior member, biology faculty member.
Hello guys. Hello everyone. This is Tracy with 5 years of experience. Okay, first of all the very best for whatever you have done in the exam, and whatever days are going to come ahead. Please enjoy, have fun. Don't worry about the results. Okay, all good to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. And then Anushruti, please join me. And she was, yeah.
Hello everyone. All the best for your future and enjoy your day.
Okay, so Renu again, another biology faculty member.
Hello, I'm Renu, and all the best for your exam results. Thank you so much.
Okay, then chemistry department headed by Aman. So Aman is here.
Hello everyone. My name is Aman. I've been teaching for the past 10 years. I had much more fun with you guys. I hope you had fun going for these 2 years. Best of luck for your future endeavors.
Thanks, Aman. Ramita. So Ramita is another chemistry faculty member.
Hi everyone, this is Ramita. I hope you have got your scores, and enjoy your day. You have done with the exam, you got your scores, so it is time to relax a bit. So all the best everyone.
Thanks. Next is physics department, Mr. Shibashish.
Hello students. So I hope all of you are done well in your exams. So best of luck for your marks, and whatever marks you got, you don't have to worry. Okay, if you got a good college, then good. Not, then prepare well for the next times. Okay, there is always a chance.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Hemant for physics.
Hi guys, my name is Hemant Sharma. So now your exam is over, so I will say chill. That's it.
And Mr. Saurav. Mr. Saurav is their chemistry faculty member.
Hi everyone, my name is Saurabh. All the best. You worked really hard for the exam. Hope you get the results out of it. Even if you don't, there's always a next time. Thank you.
So I hope the paper discussion was fruitful for you. So you can go through this video once again, And just in case if there are any discrepancies, as I told you, we will be revisiting the solution once again and publishing the final answer key in the description of this video, so you can have a look again later. So with those words, I know this is this was a very long day for all of you, and now it is already past 10 right now, so hence you don't need to worry anything about your results. Whatever you have done now, it's done. So hence my best wishes to all of you. The results will be good. Your future is definitely going to be good because you guys have already put in a lot of effort. So with those words, I'll now stop this live session, and I wish you all the best once again. Thanks a lot, and signing off from Centum Academy. Thanks. Namaste to all.